No,
You
Nick, I
weren't
forgot to
tagged.
tag you in the tweet.
That makes
Anyways, I
sense.
also just hit the live button. What's poppin' Tub Nation? Welcome back to Tub Takes. This is a VGC video podcast where I go over what's making we go over what's making waves in the VGC scene. Today, I am joined by my co-host Adi.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We got a really exciting episode this week because, first off, I'm recording this from my hotel room in Queretaro, Mexico, where I top cut a regional, and of course, we got uh, Orlando, a regional champion, and famous YouTuber Freezai on the channel again, which I'm really excited to hear his takes on Pokemon Champions, which comes out this week. So it's a really exciting episode.
No
Yeah,
Cam here, but
excited to be
Freezai
here.
is here with us. How you doing, Freezai?
I'm excited to be here. It's I'm a big fan of the channel. I watch Tub for all my BGC takes. So
Oh,
I
let's
know.
go.
Yep. I'm excited to be here and talk about Reg I and then Pokemon Champions.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear about your road to Orlando because I don't know. I got some like previews of it from Rajan on the far end, and it was like, wait, how did we get from where you started to where you ended up winning the whole thing? It's just fun. Anyways, we also have Nick here coming off of a top 8 over in Orlando as well. Nails, how you doing?
I'm doing great. This is just like the last Orlando regionals where I did pretty well and I top cut and didn't do as well as Freezai. So I'm excited
Oh
to
my
reach.
gosh. Um,
Yeah, no, it's
yeah,
great to be here. Even if Alex doesn't want to recognize me in the tweet.
I know. I need to start tagging Adi, and then I was like, I also just didn't even tag Nails at all. I totally messed this one up. And I'm gonna partially blame Adi because I was really struggling for what this one needed to be, and I was like, I need advice, and he was like, I'm in Mexico, you're on your own. And I was like, that's reasonable. I'll handle it. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. So, yeah, if you have any questions for our guests or us or anything like that, please leave them in the chat. We'll be following along as we go. And if you'd rather watch this on YouTube, it's going to be on Adi's YouTube channel tomorrow. I'll put the thing in the chat, exclamation point YT. Adi's YouTube channel is CK49. And so, yeah, if you would rather hear us talk at 2x speed or something, or you'd rather watch this later, can't stick around for the whole thing, well, it's going to be over there tomorrow. Adi, go ahead.
And if you are wondering why this is being recorded on a Monday, uploaded on a Tuesday instead of our usual cadence, just because, of course, Champions is coming out on Wednesday, and look forward to Wednesday streams. We'll probably be live on Wednesday evening talking about Champions. Alex, I imagine you have some. We'll have a lot to say, and we'll have maybe a tier list or something. And yeah, so look out for that as well. Obviously, we're all going to have a lot of stuff to talk about starting on Wednesday, but we want to talk about a little bit of Regulation I because we just had some good performances at regionals.
That's the thing is like, Freezai, everyone's going to be so excited about your win for the next like 2 days, and then this new game drops, and it's going to be like the oldest news. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that's fine. There's still the LA regionals too. That's Reg I, right? So I'm actually signed up for that one too. So
Okay.
we'll
Yeah,
see.
I think Prague in Europe is also coming up on the 25th weekend. I actually almost messed that one up, and I had told a couple people in DMs that it was this coming weekend because I think Justin Burns told me that it was this coming weekend, and I was basically just perpetuating a lie. But yeah, that one's coming up. We'll preview that in a couple weeks, and I don't know if other regions having Regulation I tournaments upcoming. I am a little bit out of touch with the global calendar, a little bit less than I should be, but I do know that Prague will be in Regulation I, and then yeah, LA, as you mentioned, also Regulation I. So that's why these are still very relevant tournaments to be discussing. And let's go ahead and get started with Adi. You pronounce it so much better, but Queretaro is how I'm saying it. But you really rolled it.
Yeah, you got to
And
roll the R's a little bit.
yeah.
I had someone come up to me at the regional, and I was like, I can't believe you're here. We watched you on Top Takes, and you thought it was in Brazil. And I was like, I did not think it was in Brazil. Alex thought it was in Brazil.
Oh my gosh, did I do this? I probably did. I'll take the fall for that one. I believe it. I hope that I didn't think it was recently, maybe like a little earlier in the season. But anyways, uh, yeah. So this one took place over the past weekend as well as Orlando, and so this one ended up having, it says 270 players here at the top. Audie, what was the day 2 round count then with that? You guys play 3?
3 rounds. Yep, we just barely
Okay.
hit the kicker for 3.
Got it. Oh, is that like the power of 2 around there, 256 or something? 257, I guess, maybe. Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Got it. And so, anyways, Alexander Conseco ended up winning, and of course, I have to plug that I did literally call it over here on the last week's Smart Money. So I grabbed Adi, and Adi, you had a very excellent finish in top 8, so that's really solid. Kenneth, I think, had a 9-3, if I remember, and then Alberto Renero, I think, maybe like a 7-4 or something.
8-4.
I guess I can 8-4.
Yeah,
Okay.
7-4, yeah. Whatever, X4.
Alberto, yeah, there we go, and Kenneth 8-3. So all around some solid picks, but I did literally just nail the winner, which was kind of awesome because I was the last pick and really struggling. I was just like, I don't know 100% who's going, but anyways, Alexander's team, not the most exciting. I haven't actually looked at it like in depth, but I think it looks like 1-for-1. I don't even think there's like a Terra type change. Who knows? Maybe some. I was about to say EV spread changes, but I don't believe Geo has published that paste. So, anyways, yeah, nothing too exciting to talk about here. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh man, I think there is a drastic change. I think Geo might have been stellar on Flutter. Oh, that's huge. Okay. Anyways, no.
So new
it's
team.
the new team.
You know, and he first off, he played super well all tournament. He was one of the people who had to play in his top 16 set, which was on stream, and so I didn't watch the rest of the top cut after I got knocked out. But he there was a disconnect in on stream in, I think, game 2 when he was winning. And they went to sudden death, and he had to win his top 16 set in sudden death to progress through the tournament. So crazy. That one was absolutely nuts. And so, you know, how things could have been with how volatile sudden death is, changes so much. And yeah.
I want to put you on the spot here just really quick, Freezai. You probably haven't played Sudden Death. You know the rules for it?
I know the rules for it. I believe I played one sudden death game in like a Victory Road tournament.
Oh,
that's
okay.
about it.
Got it.
I know the rules for it. It's pretty. Actually, I believe in like Yokohama, like 2023, there were sets that were on stream that were sudden death, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember watching those.
That was like deep in Worlds, unfortunately, because of a like tournament wide something. Maybe like a power outlet went out. That was
the guys that were packing up Unite. They just didn't realize that anyone else was using the Wi-Fi in the venue, so they just unplugged it.
Oh my!
Like they
yes.
unplugged it out of the top 16 of Worlds. It was crazy.
I don't think I've actually played Sudden Death. Me personally as well. Adi, you had to play one against Wolf Glick, right? I think I remember that
Wolf
one.
Glick at San Diego Regionals in my winning in. Yeah.
That's so funny. Wow. Yeah. Hopefully, I saw Rajan say in the chat here, I will definitely be practicing Sudden Death for Indy. I'm with you in sentiment, but God, do I hope that these next games are a lot more stable. I'm hoping that, that's something that we're really hoping for. The ability to also rejoin a game would be massive. Who knows? We'll have to see if that feature is included, but that would be super sick that we don't have to deal with that anymore. Anyways, moving on. The team that also reached the finals is, I think, nothing new here as well, except, whoa, that's Dazzling Gleam, not Moonblast. Wow. Which I don't know if I love, but sure.
I played him in Swiss, and I actually played the other Mirai Luna the very next round in round 11. And so I kind of got to see the comparison between the two. They're very similar teams, but that was the big difference. Dazzling Gleam, I thought so much easier to deal with. Right. Especially, and we'll talk about my team at some point, but I had the Mons team with AV Chen Pao. And so the fact that I could, wide guard away his fairy move in front of my Chen Pao was actually really important. And so, yeah, I think that, I don't know if I like the change, but obviously it worked out really well for him. Right. But yeah, otherwise, I think this is very, very standard as far as these Miraidon Lunala teams go. I think recently we've seen a lot more Lightboard Miraidon because that's what Ko ran at the World Championships.
Right.
And I was a little surprised to see both Othoniel and Joshua run choice specs on their versions of this team here, which again, I think has some pros and cons. Obviously, the damage really, really nice. You get to run Terra Fairy and do big damage with Dazzling Gleam, which you don't get to do with Life Orb. But the downside, of course, not having Protect means that your plays are a lot more linear, and your opponent can can just kind of target down the Miraidon and very safely in a way that they couldn't when they had Life Orb.
So seeing both of those very known teams from last Regulation I, the previous iteration of Regulation I, do so well, and then I mean I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here with Freezai, what you ended up using in Orlando, but it seems like mostly known teams are still just kind of crushing it. Do you think that that's going to be the case for the rest of Regulation I? I know that honestly, Champions coming out has a big impact on that as well. People will probably be a little bit less motivated to cook, but do you guys think that we're going to just see kind of a cycling of teams that we've already seen, or do you think somebody's going to be able to like kind of crack the format in a new way?
I'm not.
Go
Oh
ahead.
yeah. Go ahead.
Here, Freezai, you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that from my experience in Orlando, I saw very few new teams, which was good for me because I put in a lot of prep work for this tournament, and it felt like a lot of the situations were in my prep. Like it's kind of like a chess term where it's like it's already in what I've prepared for. So there was nothing really out of what I was expecting. And when I did encounter something that was out of my prep, then I had to figure it out on the spot. But because so many people were just reusing teams, myself included, it felt like a lot of stuff was just in my prep. So I expect LA. I can't imagine people are building fresh for the LA regionals when Pokemon Champions is out. So I imagine it'll be the similar situation in LA too.
Freezai studied for the test and he aced it.
You did
Yeah,
pass.
for the test, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the number of teams that people will show up with to LA will be pretty. New teams that people show up to LA with will be pretty low. But when you have situations like this where it's like a stale, stagnant meta, it's really exploitable. So I would not be shocked if like the few people who did put in the work and like figured out something new and labbed out their matchups did really well at LA.
Right.
Because like
and
when you're walking into a field where like most of the field is probably playing a different game than the one that they're playing in the tournament for most of their like Pokemon time, that's really, really exploitable. So if you want to put in the work, put in the hours, you could take what's yours at Los Angeles. But you have
If you
to
can find a game on the ladder. If you can find a game on the ladder, because that
Sure.
thing is going to tank. Adi, what were you going to say?
I was going to say something similar. I agree that I think that people are not going to, really mix things up. They're going to stick to what works and what they know because they don't want to play this game more than they want to play Pokemon Champions. But I also agree with Nick that I think that's very exploitable. And in particular, I know going into this tournament for me, I considered some, I was always on some CSR version, but I considered some wilder, wackier versions that I had practiced with, thought about using at some point in the past Regulation I. But really, what took me out of that mindset was that Worlds actually kind of shook up the meta a lot. Like Sun was not as popular prior to Worlds as it was at Worlds at all. And it had a really, really good showing. And then similarly, the Dragonite, the Pow-Knight version of CSR Zama was not very common. It was much more balancey that we didn't really see much of. We saw a little bit of it at Orlando, but it was not as common as the Pow-Knight version by far. And so it was actually Worlds like low-key shook up the meta quite a bit. And so I think people really maybe weren't 100% sure of what to expect going to this tournament. And I know I wasn't super confident in making a meta call going into this tournament because I didn't know how much people would adapt to the world's meta versus taking their existing teams they already were comfortable with. And now seeing the results from Queretaro, from Orlando, by Los Angeles, we'll have results from a European regional or two. So we will, I think that, like Nick said, the people are not going to change their team so much. And we are going to know what everyone is running. And so it's going to be, you can make a meta call much more confidently going into Los Angeles. And I think the person who wins Los Angeles could very easily be the person who makes a really strong meta call, knows what they're going to face, and knows their matchups really well, and played a bunch of people who have not practiced a ton in the last month because Champions released.
The prime example I can think of that happened most recently was last season. I think the Atlanta regionals was one of the
Oh,
last
yeah,
tournaments in Regulation G.
that was the exact event I was thinking of.
Yeah, 100%. Where Daniel Yu, Joey Woodring had a double, mirror finals with a team that was brand new to the format. People were really not using stuff like this, and that was the last major tournament in NA. And at the time, I believe the rule set for Regulation I had been revealed, released, and that kind of had stolen the attention away from everybody who was going to tournaments later that season. And so it made it a lot less motivating to try to cook. But the players that did cook, Daniel and Joey and their group, they obviously were very rewarded for it. A double finals is an insanely strong, cool accomplishment for team builders, and so that's just really really cool. We could definitely see something like that again, but it's not like just because you can like it doesn't mean build something different and it's a guaranteed ticket to success. This is not easy to do remotely, but the just a great example of like the payoff is definitely there if you can do it right.
Yep.
All right, let me get back to the current season, and so back to Queretaro. We have Araquanid in fourth, actually. I skipped over Enrique's team here. Let me see. Enrique is the strongest finishing NA player, I believe, right? And so, because
Yep.
there was a couple of invaders, a decent amount. And Enrique had a rain version of Ice Rider Miraidon. Could be something that helps put this team back on the map. I think we see a couple of them do well enough in Orlando. Emilio making top 8 with it, so we'll come back to it, I guess. But it's been in a bit of a rougher spot since the World Championships. I think having a single top 16 despite its usage, and yeah, maybe this is one way to shake it up.
Again, it's sort of a meta call where expect a lot of Sun. One of the more common Sun teams is the version with Queretaro and Weezing. That was around maybe not so much the World Championships, but certainly around prior to this. And yeah, I think that if you say my 5-mon team is really good into everything except for Sun, which is super, super common, I want my hard counter to Sun. And I want my hard counter to Sun to beat every Sun version. I believe it. I totally make sense.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. So then moving on along here, because I saw that Araquanid as well in top 4. That's Electric Seed. Okay. Honestly, I kind of buy it. Infestation, also a very fun move with a team that has a lot of like pivoting and stuff. Kind of locking down the board. Especially good for a Pokemon like Miraidon. If you ever like kind of catch a Rillaboom with an Infestation, then it might have a bit of a harder time getting out before the Miraidon can launch off a strong attack. Or maybe not necessarily the Rillaboom, but maybe you lock in something that would want to switch to Rillaboom. That's the other way to use it. And so, yeah, a really cool. The trapping moves are just very, very fun. And then otherwise, just a whole lot of support for Ice Rider Miraidon. Go ahead, Adi.
Especially with Leech Seed, right? So you can trap something in and they can't switch out of Leech Seed, which is also really cool.
That's true.
But the other fun fact that I found out as I was prepping for this matchup in Top Cut, 252 HP Araquanid. We're not gonna have time for calculus, right? I think 252 HP Araquanid with 0 Spadef takes a max of 49% from Sash, Psychic, Caloric Shadow, which is really sad because you can't 2-hit KO it from Psychic or Astral Barrage. They do the same damage, so you can't.
Right.
You can't 2-hit KO it. So it always gets 3-hit by Caloric Shadow, and it has Wide Guard. And so it's an absolute menace. In that matchup, obviously with Electric Seed, it makes it really hard for Zamazenta. I mean, if you watch my set against him in top 8, the Araquanid was a big part of why he beat me. So yeah, I was definitely very impressed by that Pokemon.
This is
And
the exact,
also,
sorry, go ahead.
and I was going to also say, I found him on Twitter, and he hasn't released the paste yet, but he is a YouTuber, I think a Spanish language YouTuber, and so I think the paste is going to be public at some point.
Cool. Okay, Nick, you were going to say?
Nick, what were you saying?
Oh yeah, this is the exact flavor of stuff that it qualifies as like a cook. If you show up to a tournament and you have your sauce figured out, like you can just roll.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fun. I really like it. No, that's
I mean,
definitely go ahead.
I'm looking at this model. I'm kind of scared. It looks really annoying to deal with.
Well, yeah,
From
I
that
think
stuff
your
too.
team also might not have a great time against the spider as well. We'll
But
definitely get
like,
to. Yeah, go ahead.
the grass type wide carter is hard for my Calyrex.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Man.
honestly, the horsepower Calyrex too. Like, I have tricks I can do, but yeah,
Oh,
I don't want
is Igni Ingi? Sorry, I
In
don't know.
Inge is I think David Soto, who I played at the tournament, and I think he got top 16 or top 32.
Oh, okay. I thought that was
Uh,
Roy here. Okay. So we already talked about Jesper's team. Let's move on over to you, Adi. So Adi, you ended up making
wait,
it to the.
one,
Go ahead. Yeah. What's
real
up?
quick, just one thing about Joshua, who I met him at the tournament. I played him in the last round when we were both locked in for cut. Super nice guy. This is his fourth regional and his second top cut back to back. So he is definitely a player to look out for. He was the number one seed after Swiss, 11-1 in
Awesome.
Swiss.
Okay.
Very or 10-1 in Swiss. Very, very good player. So yeah, definitely a name to keep an eye out for moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm hoping that we get even more people, coming in with champions and stuff like that. There's just gonna be so many players, finally unleashing, finally getting their chance. So with that though, Adi, let's jump over to yours. You ended up making it into the top 8 after finishing X and 2 in Swiss, so
X2. Yep, 9-2.
9-2. Uh,
Yep.
with a
Uh,
slightly updated version of Mont's Worlds team, I believe, right?
Yeah. Very, very small differences, a couple Terra type changes, the main couple EV spread changes. The main thing is the life orb on the Raging Bolt, which again, we have a team report on the channel. You can listen to him talk about it. I think a big thing that I took away from the team report was that the core of the team was Pow Knight, CSR Zama, and the Amoonguss Bolt were not afterthoughts. They were good Pokemon, but they were certainly not um, they were less important, and so those were the Pokemon that we had a little more room to make adjustments on. And so I think that the Life Orb with the photosynthesis boost was really cool into Sun teams, where now all of a sudden you're not just using booster energy like Mont did originally, and not getting a boost in Sun or not getting an additional boost in Sun. Now you're hitting really, really hard in Sun, and that made it so the Sun matchup, which was a little tricky for the version that Montana used at Worlds, was now pretty substantially better. So yeah, I think that was the one major change. I think it worked out really well. I beat both the Sun teams I played against. As far as the tournament itself, I definitely have some stories to tell, and so the the first story I got to tell is I didn't even think I would make it to this tournament at one point. So
That's true.
I was trying to fly out after work on Friday, and I had a 5 o'clock flight on Friday. And so Friday morning, I check in for my flight, and I see that the flight, and I'm flying Washington, D.C. to Mexico City, Mexico City to Querétaro, except the flight from Mexico City to Querétaro was actually moved up. So now it was at 5 p.m. instead of 9 p.m., 4 hour like preponement or whatever, which is crazy. I've kind of seen that happen before, but I've never been not notified of that change before. And so I'm freaking out, right? Because all of a sudden I can't catch my flight. I'm trying to figure out, do I have to take a bus and pull an Alex, where I land
I
at
did do
like
that once.
10 p.m. and take a 11:30 bus. Thankfully, it's only a 3 hour bus ride, but I would get in at like 2 a.m. before the regional. That would have been miserable. At that point, I was like, maybe, and Rajan was like, hey, you could take this flight that has a 7 hour layover in Monterey and land at 7:30 in the morning. And I was like, I'm just gonna cancel if that's the case. But the nice people at Delta were able to reschedule me to a flight that left at, I think I remember 12:47, and I was on call with them, and this conversation is happening at 10:30. So I was like, if you put me on that flight, I literally have to sprint to the airport right now. And keep in mind, I am currently in Mexico. I am not working. This is my vacation day. Tomorrow is my travel day. So I was like, I have to get all my. I really budgeted my work time to get stuff done on Friday, so I could go out of office and relax. And I did not have that. So thankfully, my boss was very understanding. And I managed to get a little bit of work done on the flight and whatnot. But like, oh my god, it was so stressful. I did not think I was going to make it. I just sprinted to the airport, and then sprinted to my connection in Atlanta, go all the way across Atlanta airport in like half an hour. But I did make it, which is good, because obviously it worked out really well. This tournament was round two. I was on stream against Spider Man. That was also very funny. They told me
yes.
when I was checking in that I was a featured player and that they were going to put me on stream pretty early, and they did. And Diego, very nice guy. I think this is his best result ever at 4-4 when I looked at his Ben build page. So,
Solid.
but yeah,
Yes,
then
he played against Spider
uh,
on stream twice.
what was that?
Mm-hmm.
He played against Spider on stream twice in this tournament.
That's
I did.
true.
I sure did. Yeah. So okay. So I'm going to answer a question in chat. Adi, what happened to Sun? You ran a Groudon Zamazenta at Worlds. Why I didn't want to use it again. That's right. At Worlds, I feel like I'm allowed to make a much stronger meta call because I'm not the best player at the World Championships. I thought I might be the best player at this tournament. And so I picked a lot safer team that I thought I could outplay everyone with, as compared to a team that I thought I needed to have a little more margins as far as matchups go. And that Zamazenta Groudon team was very weak to Calyrex Shadow Zamazenta. And I said, you know what? I can beat all the Miraidons I face. I can beat all the other stuff I face, all the Sun Mirrors I face. But I'm probably gonna have a tougher time. I have blinds, but it's not great. Into CSR Zamazenta, I'm just gonna dodge that at the World Championships. And obviously I didn't. I think 2 of my losses were to CSR Zama at Worlds. That's why I didn't run that back. Yes, someone pointed out the power went out right before round 1 at the entire venue, which is also very funny. Okay, so before I talk about my tournament, I do want to ask, why don't more NA players come to these events, come to Mexico events? I really don't get it. I would really try to convince Nick to come to this event because there's a direct flight from Detroit to Querétaro. Querétaro is a big automobile manufacturing city, as is Detroit, so it makes sense there's a direct flight there. I was, what's up?
Go ahead. No, continue your point.
But you know, my rationale for why did I come to this event in the first place? I got some questions about that. Was because this event had 1/3 the players of Orlando. It is a regional. The prize money is the same, and my round trip tickets costed $350 as compared to maybe $200 to get to Orlando. But my expected value of the tournament is so much higher because there's 1/3 of the field, and I get the same prize payout. And so, you know, I honestly don't think I even played my best at this tournament. I think I really got outplayed in top 8, especially that game 2. I did not play it very well. Roy kicked my butt. And even against Egram in round 8, I had him dead to rights, 100% won. I didn't see the line in time, and I totally choked our game 3, and I lost that game. I did not. This was not my best play at a tournament. This was like a B+ tournament for me, I think, in terms of my level of play. And the fact that a B+ level of play for me can still get me to top 8, and if I had played at an A+ level that I could have won the regional is something that is very different than at a Orlando regionals, where I think I would have to play at an A+ level to top cut that tournament. And even then, I would have to play a top 16 match, right? So it's I think that I'm surprised that more Americans don't kind of do that mental math and say the expected value of going to Mexico is so much higher than going to an American event. And I went to 2 Mexican events this year. I said if I cash out at one of them, top 16 at one of them, I will have made my money back for both the flights. I lost both my rounds in day 2 of Merida, and I think I got pretty unlucky in both those losses, and I would have bubbled into top 16 either way if I had won either of them. And here I of course got into top 8. So I feel like the rationale there for going to Mexico twice was really justified. Top 8 also didn't lock up my Worlds invite, but it's pretty darn close to locked up since I still have 1 BFL left as well. Yeah, so that's sort of my rationale for why going to Mexico. And I think that it was correct. I think I could have won this regional if I had played a little better. And I don't know if I could say that about Orlando regions.
Yeah, so I can speak. Yeah, I can speak to why I didn't go to Querétaro. So as Adi mentioned, that there's a direct flight from my home airport Detroit to Querétaro. That direct flight was $700. And so the expected value math changes for me. I had to take the poor person route and go to Disney for my poverty regional, because that's where you go when you don't have enough money to go to Mexico. You go to Disney World. But yeah, that was the math on my end, and I got the same result as Adi. So
I will say the other thing. Mexico, so much nicer than Orlando. Oh my God, it's beautiful here. It's such a cool city. It's the Querétaro is the oldest, I believe, I might be talking out of my butt, but I believe it is the oldest Spanish settlement in Mexico. And so it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the downtown area where I'm staying in the Centro Histórico. Lots and lots of beautiful plazas, lots and lots of monuments, so many monuments to conquistadors, which is kind of funny. And then also like lots of a few monuments to natives as well. Lots of good food. Like, oh my God, I'm so happy that I'm here. If you follow me on Blue Sky, I've been posting photos of all the tacos I'm eating and it's a great place to be. So definitely recommend if any Americans are on the fence about going. Mexican regionals, the players are so nice, they're so kind. I had such a great time. I made so many friends, even though my Spanish is pretty mediocre. Puedo hablar un poco, pero no hablar más. Comprender más. Mucho. See, you can already tell it's really bad.
It was horrible.
And so I made a ton of friends despite that. And so yeah, definitely recommend anyone on the fence about coming to Mexico for a regional. It is a great time. Would definitely recommend.
Okay,
Freezai,
so-
I interrupted you. What were you saying?
I don't know. I was gonna say I checked the flights. It's only 3:15, so I think I'll join you next time you go to Mexico. I'll tag on.
Sweet. Okay.
Florida,
Oh,
Orlando
yeah.
worked pretty well for you though, but I don't know. Yeah, no,
Go ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh yeah, no, just like you're talking of Queretaro, but Orlando's got like Strode's and chain restaurants, so it's pretty close, man. I don't know.
Yeah, Waffle House
mhm.
per square mile is definitely higher in Orlando. So that's a tipping factor for me. But
I agree. I love that. Lorcy says in the chat, I'll definitely go to Mexico as well. I don't know, honestly, so I'm not opposed to going to Mexico. I think if it was, if it was between going here and Orlando, it would probably have to be considerably cheaper. I do kind of like playing for the glory a little bit, and it just feels like more fun to go to the bigger tournament. I know that the bigger tournament is harder, but that's kind of like something that I do enjoy about it, I guess. Also, on a bit of a tangent, but I've just been staring at Roy Gomez Garcia's team and name here for so long that it was bothering me. I was like, I feel like I fought Roy before, and so I did some digging, and I did fight Roy at Vegas using a Araquanid there as well. And so I was like, oh, this guy's actually
No.
just an Araquanid main, a spider main. So I was just like, it was
Spider-Man.
yeah, I was like, this seems too familiar. I checked like, I was like, because he's a out of region player. I mean, Mexican players can come to the U.S., but
He's not Mexican.
Oh, he's not
He's
Mexican. Where's he
Spanish.
from? Spanish.
He lives
Okay,
in
got
Spain,
yeah.
yeah.
Wait, Spain. So then he's from Europe. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I played this guy at Nats or Worlds, and so I looked at the past 2 Nats and Worlds before I could finally find this. I was like, I'm 100% convinced I played against Roy before. And so, anyways, yeah, back to it. So, Audi, your team is boring, and so I don't really care to hear more about it. Do you have one standout match from your run?
One standout match. I think it's probably I think the match against Andrew Andy Bakes on Twitter was
Is that the
really
Flamigo
fun.
here?
It is the Flamigo. That team was terrifying. I heard rumors about this happening, about this team, and then I got to face him. This is his first regional ever. He's been posting on Twitter. He's been playing for a long time, but he's he is a very creative team builder, and this was a cool idea. He wanted to do team report. I said, I don't want to do regulation on team reports at this point, but this is his first regional ever, which is super cool to see him go really, really far. He very nearly top cut, lost the Wittinen. I thought that feint on Flamigo was really, really scary for Calibric Shadow, especially Sash Calibric Shadow, because it not only breaks
Ooh,
wide
that's
guard,
real.
but it's scrappy, so you can KO through Sash. You can hit the Sash and then KO very cleanly with Astral Barrage. Now, he said he brought Flamigo basically every single set, including, I think he said he brought it as much as his Calibric Shadow did in day 1. He did drop it in game 2 and 3 against me because he brought my game 1, he brought my Calibric Shadow down to Sash, and then I just switched it out in front of Flamigo knowing he was going to feint it. And
Right.
it just died to 2 attacks from Zamazenta, and then he switched it out for Ditto. Game 2, we made a really, really smart play where he switched in his Ditto into my Zamazenta slot the turn that he was going to KO it with his Calibric Shadow. And I was thinking, it's okay if my Zamazenta goes down this turn, but it was not okay that he got a +2 Zamazenta on the turn that he also KO'd my Calibric Shadow. And so he made a really, really smart play that game 2. And then game 3, I remember he led Whimsicott Koraidon into my Pow Knight, and because he led Whimsicott Koraidon every single game, and I said, and I looked at it and I was like, I could just KO the Whimsicott, but I thought about it a little more and I was like, this is actually like it's still a little bit more of a read because he could really easily call that out and switch out. If he does just not switch out, I can Terra normal E speed KO Whimsicott and Ice Spinner the Koraidon and force him to Terra. And so instead, I said, well, I'm also, what if I just read the Terra? I don't actually care about the Whimsicott that much. It doesn't have light screen, so it's not going to reduce my damage. I'm just going to Terra normal E-speed the Koraidon and also Sucker Punch it to guarantee the knockout. And I looked at it and I did the E-speed and it was down to like 25%. And I don't know if Sucker Punch picks up from there or not. It would have been really close. But I got the critical hit too because he did not Terra it. And I got the critical hit. And then Pow Knight kind of ran through his team. So
It
that
sounds
set
like that
was
probably does it, but also you got rewarded for making the right play. You know.
well, I made the wrong play, right? If I Terra normal E speed, he didn't switch out Whimsicott. So if I Terra normal E speed Whimsicott and Ice Spinnered, I immediately won the game. But I did end up that did end up working out. He would have KO'd himself with Flare Blitz. He told me he clicked Flare Blitz, but would have been a very different game. Again, I don't know if the critical hit was necessary or not, but he had a really cool team. And yeah, I just wanted to highlight that because he was such a nice guy and it was his first time coming to an event and he did really well and was very, very close to making top cut with a very, very cool team that I have not seen before. And I think he said he's writing a team report that he's going to post probably on Twitter at some point.
Fun. Awesome. Yeah, that does sound like a demon Flamigo for Shadow Riders. Oh my gosh. Such a cool pick. I love that.
Looking like the Sucker Punch crit mattered from months,
Yeah.
spread the internet worlds, it does like 20 max.
What
That's
the
kind
heck,
of what
dude?
I thought. Yeah.
That's crazy. I thought Chen Pao had, I don't know, a little bit more sauce in there. Okay, let's see. Any other teams in the top cut that stand out? I mean, Golden Go doesn't see a ton of play, so that's kind of funny, but it's actually just like, you know, what if my Nasty Plot Shadow Rider was actually a Golden Go and my Sash Shadow Rider was a Sash Shadow Rider? So, I guess the rest of the team doesn't play. They got like drum beating. They got choice band. It's definitely a little bit different. Definitely looks a little bit weirder. This is one of those teams that I feel like would absolutely be rewarded by the fact that your opponent's not going to know what to do against it in any type of scripted fashion. You know, they're going to be a little bit lost. So that's cool. All right. Bro has no Koraidon matchup. Did they have Rain Dance?
Yeah.
No, they did not have Rain Dance. They did not have
No.
Rain Dance. All right, well, let me find the game where they beat a
Yeah,
Koraidon.
well,
They did not beat a Koraidon.
that-
No, they did.
And-
They beat Andy. They beat Andy. Right there.
Damn,
Point
that's tough.
refuted. Anyways, no, they beat one. They beat one MDB. Your point is completely moot or whatever. All right. Any other teams from this tournament that we should cover?
No, but you know, I will say, with respect to that point, one thing I did because it's a smaller event is I did look at what the Mexican players were mostly using prior at NAIC and at Worlds, and they love Miraidon. We obviously saw it do really well at this tournament. A lot of the best Mexican players use Miraidon. For example, Kenneth Gamboa is probably the best Mexican player, and he missed top cut. He lost his win in, but yeah, he was also on Miraidon, and so one of the last decisions I made, for example, in my team building was, do I want to be Terra Water Zamazenta to be better into Sun or Terra Dragon Zamazenta to be better into Miraidon? And I picked Dragon, knowing that Miraidon would be much more common than Sun at this tournament. And so even though Sun ended up winning the tournament, it kind of makes sense to hedge against facing Sun if you know what the local metagame looks like, which it seems like Mexican players also probably did.
Didn't Mont have Dragon at Worlds?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a really fancy way to say you didn't
like
make
water.
any decisions at all. You're just making it sound cooler than it was. You just did the same thing. That's boring. Whatever.
I guess so. I guess so.
Incredible stuff here. Freezai, what was yours? Let me see. You had Dragon as well. See, nothing new here. I'm guessing
straight rip. Mine's
straight
a straight rip of the MDB team.
Yeah,
Buddy
it's
did
okay.
play 5 Miraidons in his last 5 rounds at the tournament, but he also went 2 and 3 against those players. So take that for what it's worth.
Let's
I've
I was gonna say let's hop over to here to Orlando then, and of course start from the top then with Freezai, your team here. So, like you said, it's a straight rip. I'm curious. Well, I guess first off, how did you get this team then, and how did you end up here on this team?
So I kind of figured end of the format, let me just pick a really good team and then just grind the matchups because I feel like I'm just gonna see the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, okay, Caloric Zama is broken. Let me just pick that. And I was looking between the Montana Mott team and the MDB team, and MDB is my goat, so I'm like, okay, I'll just pick his team. And then he had a team report too, so it's like, okay, I can just watch the team report and learn how to play it and understand why the EV spreads are the way they are. So it was just a lot of studying for me mainly.
Okay, and so you did you end up on this like relatively early in the process, or was there any point where you were experimenting with different archetypes before you landed on this one, or did you
Oh
pretty
no,
much just pick it and
relatively
went
early
with it?
because they announced the Reg I pretty late. I think it was like only a couple weeks before. So once
They
they
did.
announced Reg I was like, okay, what Kalizam is broken. I looked up the top teams and I picked one. That's pretty much what happened. There was no creative input or anything. No, I was a mindless drone the whole time.
Okay, but I know you had other ideas. You got to tell us about the Iron Moth.
Okay, so I was okay. Okay, so day one of the format being announced, I mentioned I talked to Raj and I'm like, isn't Iron Moth kind of cool because you use it next to Maridon and Dondozo, and that was total trash. I found out within like 5 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I need to not cook here. I don't think I can cook effectively at all. Um, so I nipped it in the bud pretty quickly, but I did have an idea
Okay.
with Iron Moth and Maridon.
So yeah, you basically just did a little bit of like minor cooking like day one before deciding, like this isn't worth it.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna lock in on something strong.
yeah, pretty much. Not everybody can cook. So, well, that's not true, but I can't cook right now. So I was like, okay, let me just pick a team.
Nor do you need to. Nor do you need to. Obviously, it worked plenty well for you winning the whole thing. So yeah, I feel like I don't know. It's a totally valid strategy, and I think yeah, too many. I think a decent number of people get a little hung up on having a team need to be their own when their building is just one part of VGC. Battling is another whole different aspect. In fact, battling is what wins the tournament. So it's the best. Building can win a tournament as well, but battling is you gotta click the buttons and stuff like that, whatever. So it's still fun
You
to look in
don't
on
need
that.
the other.
What's that?
You need one, you don't need the other. You can get by
Hmm.
without the other. They both help.
I guess sometimes for
That's
sure.
true.
Um,
But
and
that
so you end up.
that thing about Reg I being announced late, I think is also like a really big part of it, right? Because I know I thought the same thing. Where like if they announced it on February March 1st, like they normally do, and we had over a month to cook, maybe we would have spent more time exploring these more fun ideas. But when the pressure's on and you have to commit to a team really quickly, it's a lot harder to dedicate yourself to an idea that you aren't fully confident in, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, pretty much exactly. The only downside is that the YouTube video is not like my own team. It's just like, oh yeah, I use this guy's team. That's the only reason I was trying to cook Iron Moth, but then eventually I
Oh,
realized
real.
I yeah. But,
It is a worse YouTube video a little bit, unfortunately. That is tough. That is tough.
yeah.
Um,
Relatable. I feel that.
so wait, Freezai though, were you always? I guess like you probably had Orlando booked at least a couple, weeks in advance of this. So were you playing like Reg F to stay sharp? Were you practicing for like a something else that it could have been? Were you thinking it was going to be champions? Or did you just kind of start the day that it
I
got confirmed on I?
I started the day it got confirmed on I. So I was I'm kind of been out of Pokemon like mentally in the sense that I've been doing like random battles on Pokemon Showdown, but in terms of VGC and OU, I haven't played OU in at least 6 to 9 months, and VGC I barely touched it. But what happened was I just got kind of bored of Pokemon. It is what it is. Interests change over time. But then when Pokemon Champions was announced, that was interesting to me. So it kind of got me back into wanting to play Pokemon. So I'm like, okay, let me sign up for tournaments before Champions and then get into Champions. I thought that would be fun. But I wasn't really in the mood to just like casually prepping. So I wasn't playing Reg F at all, for example. But then when Reg I was announced, like Reg I 2.0, then I started, grinding again for that pretty much.
Okay. So yeah, just got like right into it. I mean, no time
Yeah.
wasted then at the very least prepping for a format that it didn't end up being, because yeah, there was just it was like getting really close to the tournament before they even announced this. But what else could you do? We just were so uncertain what the format was
Yeah,
actually going
I
to be.
just had like one goal, pick the most broken team, and then just practice, like grind a lot with that team. That was my main idea. And overall, I think it worked. A lot of the matchups, it fed into my prep, so I kind of had an idea. And then I got relatively lucky throughout the tournament as well. And I'll give an example. So there was one particular matchup that's kind of tough for Kalizama, or at least I felt it was tough. It was like Quiver Dance Volcarona when they have Farigiraf 2 and like Maridon with and the electric seed on the Volcarona. I found that pretty tough, but in prep, I found that sometimes you can just drop Zamazenta and go with Ogerpon instead. So only one restricted. So something like that. Because I had prepped so much, I had the idea. So I think I wouldn't have been able to figure out on the spot that I can drop Zama in some matchups, for example. So being able to prep, really helped. And then another example, in day 2, I was playing Marcus Hammond, and he was using a team I hadn't seen before. So I had to kind of figure things out on the spot. And in game 1, I just robbed him essentially. I dodged icy winds to win. And then it was like a Zama. It was like a Kali. I think Kali Zama like POW mirror, but they had icy wind on their POW and I had ice shard on my POW, and I didn't quite understand how drastically that shifts the matchup. And game 1 I
Right.
win because I dodge icy wind. Game 2 I get destroyed because I just didn't understand the matchup at all. And then by game 3 I finally understand some of the more nuances of the whole situation. I'm playing out of prep, I guess you can call it. And game 3 I'm able to barely win there. So stuff like that where just like it's like double edged. When you're just playing into prep, a lot of it is just like knowing what's going on, and when you're out of prep, you get into a lot of trouble too. So it's like double edged almost.
Right. Yeah. I think that it brings us right back to what we were talking about. Like there is a good reason to run stuff that is like even slightly modified. In fact, this team is not even just like a strict 6-mon team. Audi, you were running basically the same team, but those differences do add up. Of course, there's reasons to run the different changes and stuff on them. However, they all fall under the same umbrella for sure. And so there's Torns on these teams sometimes, Cornerstones,
Yeah.
Raging Bolts, um, and yeah, and it definitely can really swing things. Um, so anyways, back to
Yeah.
you, Freezai then. So was there any matchup any match in your run that was like the most standout one? Was it just the one against Marcus, or was there any other one?
Uh, the Marcus one in particular. Let me look through here. I felt like I had issues with Koraidon Kali as a matchup, so I ended up fighting that again in top 8, and it worked out. But I did lose to that in round 2, where it was like
Right.
really tough to deal with. Koraidon, like Bonnet can spore you, which is annoying, and the defense boost is really annoying. Shiyu outspeeds you. But if you lock into extreme speed to try and outspeed Shiyu, you get into issues with Calric Shadow, and there's a Koraidon doing everything. I had a little bit of trouble with that matchup, but and I did lose that matchup. But and then I guess the difference is in top 8 they didn't have a Bonnet. Clefairy and Rillaboom are significantly easier to handle.
Uh-huh.
That was a standout.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
I think
guess that is your weakness, huh? I'm looking through, and you went 0-1 against Bonnet. I think I'm seeing it. 0% win rate against Brute Bonnet, maybe.
yeah.
I
And
think that
Farigiraf's a little tough too because it blocks your prio. It's good against
right.
Kali. Like the strats versus like Farigiraf is something I prepped, but it was still felt like a very like weird, like uncomfortable way to try and beat Farigiraf.
Yeah, I
So
mean, you still did best Josh though, and Raymond. I think I'm seeing just 2. No, 3 Fari. You were beating the giraffe. You got no issues there.
because I had
Uh,
versus Josh, what happened was so my plan versus Farigiraf is that I double targeted every time until I knock it out, and then I try and bide my time with Kali Shadow in the back. So then after Trick Room or Tailwind, whatever expires, I go with that. Versus Josh, in games 2 and 3, both times I just crit the Farigiraf. So it's like there was nothing like with Ivy Cudgel Ogerpon. So I didn't
That'll
really,
do it.
yeah. So Ivy Cudgel Ogerpon just crit through the electric seed both times. So I didn't have much of a thing.
Beast mode. Beast mode, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you do it.
Yeah, just
MDB is
high
actually
crit move.
agreeing in the chat that Fari is definitely the difficult one.
I will say though, so like if you look at my team, you have Kali Shadow, everything's 100% accurate. Zama's accurate. Amoongus is accurate. And plus, you have like 4 variants. The only inaccurate moves are, I think, Ruination Pow and Power Whip Ogrepon. So if you compare that to maybe like your
My
staple
team.
moves, yeah, your staple moves are 100% accurate. But you compare that to like Meteor Beam Lunala is going to be a staple move, and it's only 90% accurate. Like over the long run, if you're relying on high variance moves, obviously critting stuff and then dodging icy winds is a little bit extra, but my point is that this team itself is kind of built to not be unlucky, so that's also a
Yep.
good factor too.
No, that is real. It's honestly just your restricteds, I mean, like you said, the supporting cast, they also have some moves that can miss, but both your restricteds, nothing can go wrong when they click the move that they are wanting to click. There's just no variance there. So,
Yeah, like
and on top
icy
of that,
wind.
they're so fast that you can just crit
Yeah,
things because you're faster. I mean, Ogrepon ended up doing it,
exactly.
but
And like
go
I
ahead,
feel like
sorry.
icy wind as a move, it's 95% accurate. You're trying to hit 2, it goes down to around 90. But if that's like a staple move you're spamming throughout the tournament, and oftentimes it is, that those 90% you're gonna add up over 3 games, 12 to 15, series of Pokemon, they're going to add up. You're going to get them eventually type thing. And so like even 95 versus 100 is a big deal over the aggregate, for example.
Yeah.
100%.
No, it's the type of move where if you're gonna include it, you have to be sure that it's really, really good.
Right, exactly.
Like it can be worth it still. Like they are powerful moves. But
Exactly. Yeah.
if it's just kind of mid, you probably want to shy away from it.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
even Electric Seed Lunala. Electric Seed Lunala is also kind of tough with Farigiraf. Yeah, a lot of different like things can be tough with like Farigiraf.
Oh, and then
Bash
MDB is
was really
asking
good.
about
I
Bash.
will say Bash was good. I don't think I fought one Terra Fairy Calrix, I believe.
Yeah, you thought ball and
Top Hall, yeah.
Top 4.
Yeah, I would say that I think over the entirety of the tournament, Heavy Slam would have been better, but you just need it for Terra Fairy Calrix Ice. I feel like if you don't have Behemoth Bash for Terra Fairy Calrix, it's not worth being better into every other matchup because that matchup, will lose you everything.
Gotcha.
Like it's not unimaginable to fight, 2 or 3 Terra Fairy Calrix Ices during a run, and if you fight that, it's just a lot tougher. So I think it mattered more in this particular run, but like the 10% difference is whatever. I'd take Behemoth Bash.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I think I have some Shadow Rider friends who are just saying like it's like they were just like he has no idea what he's missing running Behemoth Bash. Like like Heavy Slam is so required for this reason and in this reason and this reason, and it's just like it's hilarious to hear like almost the opposite viewpoint where it's like there's all these good reasons, but here's one really important one, and it's Ice Rider Fairy. So
Yeah, I mean it comes down to matchup variance. You can realistically maybe not hit that many Terra Fairy Calrix. I actually looked it up before the tournament. I was debating it. I looked up like the showdown usage. Terra Fairy Calrix was, I believe, 40% on the Regi BO3 ladder for Calrixes. Terra Fairy was 40%. I'm like, that's good enough because I just don't want to be into like a completely losing matchup.
It was around a
right.
third at Orlando of the Calyrex for Fairy. The
Okay,
Ice Riders for
interesting.
Fairy. It was 20 out
Right.
of 59 in top 256. So
Okay. Yeah, so about the same as Showdown. Okay.
yeah, like very comparable to what you
Okay.
found.
All right, so then since we'd have to go through the whole top 8 to get down to 8th place, Nick, I think we'll jump ahead, Nick, to your team here because you did finish right here in the top 8 with nothing new. In fact, I think you said that you were just gonna,
One thing that's
you're
new.
right. There is one thing that's new that's actually pretty notable. You said you ended up liking it, but it was a mistake, right?
Yeah, so the Among Us is supposed to be Rocky Helmet. It's the Rocky Helmet chip is just important in a lot of spots. Like on stream I was killing a Lunella with leech seeds, and you do that against Zamazenta sometimes, and so like having the extra helmet chip means you kill it in like 6 turns instead of 8 turns, and that's a pretty big difference if they're just spamming wide guard and like you switched in or something. So yeah, just in general, it's like pretty important for the team strategy. But it didn't really come up at all that I missed the Rocky helmet in a lot of my sets later in the tournament, and the citrus berry was really clutch. So like I mentioned in Tub, all these guys that have their team sheet errors, why don't they simply just benefit from their team sheet error like me?
Well, do you
Like,
ever wish that
People
your
leave it
Among Us
right on.
was amulet coin?
I mean, right now, yeah, I would have doubled my prize money.
That could have been goaded.
You know how else you could have doubled your prize money? Winning your top
Uh,
8 set.
Yeah, no, I could have not
No.
choked that one, but that is what it is.
The for those that don't know, the joke here is that Emilio actually had amulet coin on his Calyrex ice for like the first 5 rounds, and I think he found out on stream by getting intimidated.
Yeah,
And was like, go ahead, Nick.
I, it's just one of the most deeply funny, like inherently hilarious things we've had happen in VGC. So, he goes the first 4 rounds, with the amulet coin and the Calyrex ice, and doesn't notice because none of his opponents brought their Incineroar against him, and that's kind of the only spot that it procs. He plays round 5 on stream, gets intimidated. He has clear amulet on the team sheet, and the opponent doesn't notice. Uh, and it goes to game 3. Emilio ends up winning game 3, and opponent could have gotten the win at any point by calling a judge, and just didn't pick up on it, presumably. The opponent ends up going 7-1, so I don't want to throw shade at this player. They had a really good tournament, but uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Emilio just after the fact, like fails the hack check, and the judges say, "Yeah, fix it to what's on your team sheet." Apparently, didn't get a game loss because it wasn't benefiting him in any way because it doesn't do anything. So yeah, just an all-time classic. Um,
I heard the judges
uh,
came out with the Switch and team sheet like laughing. They were like, yeah, bringing it
yeah,
back to him, like actually like laughing a little bit, and it was like, what could possibly be funny right now? Do you get
it's
more
so
prize money
fun.
running that? It's been a joke for like years, Seth, here in the chat. Like we've like I think all the way back to Gmax Meowth or
Yeah,
whatever.
yep.
Um would
One of
like
our locals, TOs here in DC, said that if anyone wins a cup with Gmax Meowth, we would get double the prize money. No
Are
one
you guys
did.
gonna go over what happened with the judging in the regional? I thought about it, and like it's like somewhat relevant to the Pokemon community as a whole, but I figured that it's probably better handled by the respective
Hungry.
games. By Hungry Box, of course, by Hungry Box. Hungry Box has
Yeah.
got to take it care of.
Yeah, I don't
Go ahead.
feel like we can contribute meaningfully. We can't say anything that's already not been said, I don't think, because everyone
100%.
knows it was just kind of a overreaction, but I don't think we can contribute more than just like, I guess, like drama in it.
The
Right.
yeah, like just codify that if you break something, it comes out of your prize money. Don't change the results of the tournament over it.
Yeah.
As for the TCG guy, he drew lethal. He broke the game state before he played lethal. That means the game wasn't over and he lost. Like he got what he deserved.
Unfortunately, yeah,
That's
I do kind of I kind of stand with that. Bringing us back though, Nick. I think somebody
And
has a
then
question for you. Oh, Adi, go ahead.
yeah, the DQ and VGC, Daniel Marcelo Reyes, he posted an explanation for what happened on his Twitter if you want to read about that. But this has been something that we've seen people get DQ'd for in the past. I think his argument was it's not explicitly mentioned in policy. And you can read that and kind of come to your own opinions. I do think the policy should be more clear, but I know at least 2 people who have been DQ'd for this in the past, and so this is something that a seasoned competitor should know at this point. That's my
if
I'll go ahead and
someone.
mention it.
Oh, yeah,
The long
if
story
it was
short on it is just that he had 2 very similar rental codes. And yeah, I don't. We're not here to accuse Daniel of using that to cheat in any way, but it's a very easy way to cheat. Just so that is stated, and so like I do feel bad for him. I also think this is something you got to watch out for because we've seen it happen before. And with that said, though, I'm slightly with him on the fact that yeah, I don't know if it's like explicitly stated in the rules. It would be nice if they were a little more implicit or explicit about that. It's like, hey, it literally says here don't have similar rental codes, then it'd just be so much simpler. But yeah, it's
I'll believe
not the first time it's happened.
him that he wasn't cheating, but I don't think people should go unpunished for doing that if they are a seasoned competitor. If it's your first tournament, yeah, you should get a warning about it and an explanation about this is how people can cheat. Don't do it, or we would think you might be cheating. But yeah, if you've been around for a while, that doesn't fly.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm. All right, so I think there was actually a question for you, Nick. I'm scrolling back for it. It said, how did you feel about CSR Zama and Geo's Worlds team? And obviously answer as much as you want, because I know you've also been getting a lot of coaching requests about your team, so...
Yeah, so I'm planning to keep my game plans for those matchups close to the vest. If you want to hit me up for coaching, uh, Twitter DMs or Discord DMs. Honestly, Discord DMs are better. I'm at Nails or you on both. But yeah, I'm not really trying to give away all my secrets when I'm still got a tournament. Full disclosure, I will be playing this team at Los Angeles. I've cut 3 straight tournaments with it, so I'm not swapping off after Champions come out. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
sorry. But
Right.
yeah.
No, 100%. I mean, you got another tournament upcoming, so it totally makes sense. I'm making sure that I didn't miss any other messages in the chat. People were talking about the Rayquaza Eternatus guy. I don't even know if they're talking about necessarily his team, which we'll definitely get to the team. But I think they're more so talking about that he dropped at 6-3 or something, and maybe he was honestly just trying to go enjoy Easter.
Let's talk about it.
All right, I can jump over to that team because yeah, Nick. Honestly, we'll come back to you. Actually, we'll come back for your run, but your team obviously there's nothing to say about it after the Citrus Berry Amoongus because we've seen your team before. You're actually becoming that stupid like Jimmy Neutron Sheen meme. Like Nick, this is the 4th time you've brought Ice Rider Kyogre to top cut. Like we get it.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so this one.
So first off,
I remember.
I want to name and shame. I think it's Cedric lost to this guy, and he was talking about it in Tub, which I thought.
I also heard it, dude. I also heard it. I was gonna say it.
He beat some good players. Jeremy Cote is pretty good. Bobby Rochelle is pretty good. Samuel Thompson went 9-3, right? Like he played a not easy schedule to go that far. That being said, it turns out that when you run 2 Dragon type restricteds, you might not have the best Ice Rider matchup. And I would implore you to count the number of Ice Riders that he played this tournament.
This is the tournament to do it, Adi. This is the tournament to do it, okay? Ice Rider Miraidon has been down in the dumps. Whiter of the Amoongus is wild.
Grass Double Dragon can beat Ice Rider?
What is Whiter Amoongus doing? Like... No, they also didn't run some Terra types, but MDB, that's wait, no, they didn't. They ran 1 Terra type? Is that what I'm seeing? They ran 1 Terra type? Didn't know that.
No, Terra Poison, Eternatus, and Terra Dragon Rayquaza are like, it's all offensive Terras, except for the Grimmsnarls. Don't ask me.
No, they're not offensive Terras, they're defaults, man. I don't care if they have some benefit. Like, yes, Rillaboom's gonna do more damage with Terra Grass Woodhammer, but I think it's also obviously its default Terra. I think these are all just their first types besides Amoongus. And Amoongus couldn't be normal, it had to hold the Whiter. What the heck, dude?
This is a spot of all time.
It's for parting shot. I don't think it even stops parting shot, but it could be like that.
The sludge bombs hit afterward.
The sludge bombs do hit afterwards. And also it could make your opponent second guess it, where they're like, "Oh, I don't know if this works." Why wouldn't you just be Clear Amulet? I guess I don't know. It only works on the because they already got consumed on the Intimidate. It didn't get to work on the parting shot. Less damage from knockoff. Knockoff, of course. Snarl Miraidon.
Okay. Should we go back to Nick?
Yeah.
Should we go back to Nick?
So, Nick.
We're not going to do the tournament in order?
Well, I just wanted to hear your schedule. I just wanted to hear your...
my schedule?
So, your schedule, what was like the one standout match from your run, besides Pikachu round 1, I'm seeing?
No
restricted Pikachu.
Yeah, my round 1 guy with no restricteds, he thought it was going to be a Reg F tournament. He sat down and he was like, wait, What format is this? Is this? Oh man, this is a
No.
restricted format. Shoot. Rain
No.
actually has a pretty good matchup. Like, Basque is kind of hard for my Kyogre and Calyrex to kill, and his Arch, Terra Electric, Electroshock, crit O-code my Ice Rider. And I have a very bulky horse, so that's like kind of a lot. It might be the first time I've ever seen it get one shot by anything. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it uh his tournament didn't go well.
So
Standout
besides that
set,
one though,
yeah. I mean, I got some lucky breaks at points with like sleep turns and such. Because I mean it's Among Us, and so that's how it works. I guess I'll give a shout out to Mateo Rodriguez. He was my round 11 opponent. So this is Mateo Rodriguez's first tournament. He was playing Ditto, Shadow Rider, Koraidon, and like bringing Ditto every game, and just
wait, this
making
isn't
really solid.
the person that beat Freezai, is it?
Yeah, it beat me too.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no, he
So
was
Wait,
both
making.
players.
where's his
Go ahead.
Flamigo? He's missing his Flamigo.
So true.
That's true.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, Freezai can also comment, but like, yeah, I thought he played really well, and he was like making really good Ditto plays, and just like Ditto for context is just a mon that's generally really tricky to use well, and like I've already called dibs on Mateo for the Nats draft. He said he's going to NAIC, and it'll be his second tournament, and he was just like seemed like a really solid player, and I was just very impressed for first tournament. I don't know.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And I'm going to say the same thing I said earlier, but I hope that we continue to see even more first tournament people pop off in champions. You know, that's going to be so exciting if they got in. You know, because that we I forgot Rajan mentioned this to me as like a topic for this tub takes. I didn't think I wanted to put in a link for it, but I could mention it in passing. Is Indy did fill like absolutely. Freezai, are you trying to do Indy? Are you trying to do any more tournaments this season? What's your
I
plans?
tried to do indie. I didn't get in though.
Did you try right away? Like, did you just not luck out?
No. I didn't. I forgot how competitive everything was. I showed up an hour late, and I'm like, after I showed up an hour late, I realized, oh, of course, it's the first one with champions. It would have been exactly at the moment, so that's on me. But
Yeah, it
Oh
was
no,
full
that's
10
so
minutes.
tough.
yeah,
It was very, very tight.
yeah, I didn't realize at all. So that's just on me. I
Oh,
will say that I had this discussion at the venue too with some people. When we're talking Pokemon Champion, so if once it becomes a mobile game,
right.
so for example, in India, for example, you just can't. It's very difficult to buy a Nintendo, but everyone has a mobile phone. Similarly, in like Southeast Asia, not many people have consoles, but everybody has a mobile phone. So you could potentially, even China. I don't know too much about China, but I understand it's there like that too. So you could potentially be seeing a huge like demographic like boom for Pokemon, competitive Pokemon as a whole.
Oh
With
god,
like
we're
all the
hoping it's gonna
I,
be so crazy. Go ahead, Adi.
I see a post on the RVGC subreddit maybe once a month. It's someone from India saying, how do I get championship points? Something like that, right? Like there's and I know that Frieza, you play Smogon, so you know
Yeah,
how big the player base is in Asia for
yeah,
World Cup and for all that stuff. They're always one of the top teams, right?
right.
Yeah, so I agree. I think that as soon as it comes out on mobile, as soon as these players have access to the game, they love competitive Pokemon. I think yeah, we're gonna see a huge influx in players. And guess what? I made a video talking about how I was a doomer about champions that I think we maybe touch on a little bit, but that's part of it. Is yeah, the mobile market is so huge. So many Pokemon players love Pokemon, don't necessarily have access to the tools to play competitively outside of Pokemon Showdown. And yeah, I hope that they are also catered to when Pokemon Champions comes out.
And just to add
Mm-hmm.
on to that, one example is like with ROM hacking. So when I was in India for like high school. I grew up in the US. I went to India for high school. Most people when I was in high school didn't really know about Pokemon at all because no one really had, Game Boys or Nintendo DSs or anything. But I think maybe like 5 to 6 years ago, or maybe I don't know the exact timeline, but at some point they finished the decompilation of Emerald, so it became significantly easier to make ROM hacks with. that led to a ROM hack boom, and now all of a sudden you can play Pokemon on your phone. A lot of people were playing ROM hacks, so that led to like a Pokemon boom in India. Like I'd say maybe the past 5 to 6 years, just through ROM hacks, because it was an accessibility problem, not an interest problem. So we could see similar things here with Pokemon Champions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm hoping so much so. Even though Adi is a doomer and thinks the game is going to fail 100%. That's what his video goes on to. And if you want to, and Adi can't refute it because otherwise he would be giving away what's in the video. You wouldn't have to go watch it. So go watch the video to hear Adi say that VGC is going to be killed by champions.
I get so many comments like not watching the video and just reading the title. It's like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Been there, done
that. All right, let's actually. So I'm very much. I'm like locking in to like talk about the champion stuff, and I need to lock back out because we need to finish talking about this tournament, and then we will earn talking about champions. Because otherwise, once we gotta do a little more eye. So Richard ended up taking second with the Whimsicott version of the CSR Zama stuff, which notably features Life Orb, Calyrex Shadow, and it was modest. I think we saw that at a key moment later on in the tournament, where I think a Shen Pao outsped it. I actually managed to not KO it, despite it like being so close. Lived on one and won the game. It was like such a cool back and forth. I don't know. I was definitely on the edge of my seat watching that one. But yeah, I think we saw teams like this do really well around Worlds, maybe. I think maybe like in that period between Worlds and NAIC. I guess the opposite, NAIC and Worlds, whatever. There was this team was starting to pick up, and it's like got I guess it's not like Firewater Grass. It's just like I really don't know how to like describe it concisely, really, but it's the like one of the stronger like Life Orb Shadow Rider teams at this point that doesn't involve like the Fake Out brothers,
Yeah, and
Yep.
Just to make it all about me again, so basically I had my top 4 match, and then immediately after top 4 it went straight into top 2, and so I didn't have time to prep particularly for this matchup. So essentially, when I was looking at the team sheet in finals, that was the first time I had taken a serious look at this variant in a long time, because like for all the other matches like top 4 and top 8, you have a little bit of prep time in between rounds, but this one I actually didn't have any prep time. But
that is tough. That is absolutely tough. Yeah, there's like the benefit of like having a little bit longer to prep for your top 4, but then it like immediately comes back to bite you when your finals is right then and there.
Yeah. Answer.
Did you know it was modest?
I knew it was modest. Well, most Life Orbs are modest. So in my top 8 when I played Song Lee, I was kind of assuming it was modest on that team too, from what I knew. So I was just kind of penciling that most Life Orb Calyrexes were modest, and I think I didn't watch the series itself where the POW outsped it, but I think someone told me that that was confirmed modest.
Right.
But yeah.
And I guess the other cool standout thing about this team is that it's not actually Nasty Plot Shadow Rider. I might have even misspoken and mentioned that, but it's Pollen Puff. And I think they did actually get to Pollen Puff their own Zama in one of the games, though I feel like it was like a win more type situation where it was just like they were so far ahead and they were like, let me just, add on top of it, lock this game up. But Pollen Puff's still really cool, especially for things like Fari. They've got Taunt on the POW for Fari, as well as, Pollen Puff being able to do some serious damage to a Fari. And it's also a much stronger move for hitting opposing Shadow Rider. When you're in those locked up board states, you can psychic the opposing Shadow Rider because Wide Guard is going to prevent the Astral Barrage, and it's like actually Pollen Puff makes some pretty good progress here.
Interesting.
Taunt POW is the other thing I want to highlight, because I was watching Sanbi and Montana's team report from Worlds, and Sanbi had said he had been using Taunt's POW up until Worlds. He really liked it. He felt really awkward not using it, even though I think Assault Fest was correct on that team. And looking at it and looking at the game states with Taunt POW, I think it actually does a lot for this team, especially, into, for example, the big one, Leech Seed Calyrex Ice, where you often get into the Chen Pao Zamazenta board state against those Calyrex Ice teams. And WoW having Taunt changes the dynamic so much there.
I did not
Yep.
know this in the chat as well. Somebody mentioned that that self puff does recoil on Showdown. That's really really funny. I honestly feel like I would have known this, so I gotta double check you on that one. I'm not gonna just like believe it immediately, but that sounds believable enough. Let's see. So, um, okay, yeah, I was about
Wow.
to say it.
Cool
I was
team.
about to say that Jonzu was running the same team as Freezai, and like that's the thing. That's what'll get you. Your eyes gloss over, and you don't notice that like yeah, there's actually 8 Mons on this team, over across all the
Well,
versions.
like I said, when I was again, I keep mentioning Montana and Sandy's team report. Really recommend you watch it. I know Michael also did a team report. If you're interested in these type of teams, they are such good resources. And again, I think that the on Montana's team, the team that I use, Amoonguss Raging Bolt, kind of the flex slots, and so uh, you can kind of play around. I guess Cornerstone is the third mod, and you can pick two of those. It's kind of what it seems like now, and they all have different applications and different matchups, and your teams are going to be different strengths and weaknesses depending on which two you pick. Cornerstone Bolt, I think, probably is hedging a lot harder for the Sun matchup, where Amoonguss is like a little less good. It's a lot better, especially into, for example, like the Smeargle stuff that we really struggled with. But you managed to beat Freezai. And so
Right.
yeah, I think that you get to pick two of those Pokemon really for those last three slots, and the real core of the team is Pow-Knight, Zamazenta, CSR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and another thing, so the particular variant, the MDB variant with Amoonguss and Ogerpon, one strategy that it works kind of well into a team with a lot of single target attackers is you can go double redirection essentially. So you have Ogerpon next to a redirector, and then you just redirect all the attack. Sorry, Ogerpon
You mean
next to
Shadow
your
Rider?
restricted. Yeah,
Yeah.
Kali or Zama. You keep attacking, and then you keep redirecting, and then once your Ogerpon dies, you go to Amoonguss and you keep redirecting, and it's very tough to actually get damage on a Zamazenta or Kali who's just like outputting damage into everything. That you do lose that double redirect mode, which I brought that surprisingly often. For me, it wasn't only a Chi and Pao Dragonite team. It was also this Ogerpon stuff, particularly versus like Miraidon. You kind of like having Ogerpon into Miraidon. So that's one example. But I use the Ogerpon Amoonguss variant a lot more than maybe you'd expect.
It definitely takes advantage of the Life Orb Miraidon trend as well. You know, those ones that don't have
Exactly.
access to that spread move anymore. You know, all single target attacks, they're very unhappy. And that's usually on that Lunala team. And so the Lunala doesn't have a spread move unless it's running Dazzling Gleam. Yeah. That definitely works really well there. Let's see. So Paul Chua just running a literal team report team that made it look very strong. But this one is also totally out there. Hirofumi did well with it at Worlds. However, if you go digging, you'll find that Suika, I think, made the team report for that one. So definitely want to plug that. Give credit where credit's due. Go check it out. And it does go over a lot of the game plans in detail. And yeah, not surprised to see Paul using a team like this because it's just a lot of stuff up his alley. He likes Cali Ice. He loves double fake out. So yeah. All right.
I
What
have
are
a
you
story
losing
about my matchup against this team, but I can't say
Yeah.
it because I don't want to talk about how our team plays against this team. Because LA Regionals is still coming up, but I don't want to reveal game plans. So we'll table that till later.
Kian's still doing it with Swordfish. Kian just dedicated to it, and honestly, Kian probably one of the players that benefits the most from like matchup experience because you probably don't play very strong Swordfish players very that often, but Kian has probably played against your archetype way more. And I also think Kian is a ladder fiend. So if you see a high ladder account using this 6, you can probably guess who it is. But anyways, it's nothing too new, but he's still kind of like the only one doing it and doing it well. This archetype, I don't remember.
This is
deepest
Naoto's
runs
team
with
from the World Championships. This
Yes,
is,
there
and
it is.
he also has a team report, which is really good. It's in my Red Guy rental video. This was the other team that I seriously considered. I thought it was really cool. My one problem with this team is that I really felt like in the CSR Zama mirror, or not mirror, but against CSR Zama, you kind of need to Terra 2 Pokemon. Like you really want to Terra your Koraidon to get KOs with Flame Charge and Flare Blitz, but you also really want to Terra your Calyrex Shadow so it can take an Astral Barrage. And I just never could quite get that matchup down pat. But yeah,
Right.
this team is I think just Naoto's team from Worlds, and it is quite strong.
Yeah, I think I think might not have been the only player running it in the group. I think Sungli works with Toller and some other players, and they were all on.
Toller and
no,
Zach Minch. Zach got top 32 at Worlds with the Tinglu version. And he worked with Toller, and they also made the page public. Also in the video, by the way, check that out if you want. Like basically every single good team in this entire format.
Okay.
I don't know if Zach came to this tournament or not.
No.
But they had worked together on the team going into the World Championships.
It was Mao's team. Okay. I'm following now.
Did I say Naoto?
Yeah, I think.
Oh,
so.
my bad.
The Naoto team had Grim, and yeah, there's Ting Lu versus Rillaboom, I think, on those couple versions, so they're not all the same. Anyways, Emilio, we talked a little bit about the amulet coin thing earlier, but we didn't talk about the team. He was the best finishing Ice Rider Miraidon at the tournament, giving it a little bit of a extra life. I don't know, like some of the things that stand out here are Roar on the Fari, Life Orb on the Miraidon, and then it's kind of funny. I always love to call this archetype Bolt Beam Speed Sandwich, because you know the Bolt is the fast and the Beam is the slow. Ice Beam, Electric, really good coverage, and you have a Speed Sandwich. Well, this one has the double.
Wait, I don't get it. Can you explain that again?
It's a BBBBBSS. It's not BBBSSS. It's 4Bs because it's double Bolt, double Beam, Speed Sandwich now. Because yeah, the fast ice bundle, the slow electric hands. It's kind of funny that you can have ice electric coverage in both forms of speed control, and then all of this paired with Scarf Annihilate, which is so funny. It's like a Pokemon that doesn't feel like it lines up with my impression of Emilio, and yet he like is always coming back to it. I believe he used this on a Terapagos team as well. He just loves the Scarf Ape. And yeah, it can be a very fun Pokemon in these formats, just like, you know, making trades on your terms if you can use it well. So
for those who don't know, BBSS is something that we coined all the way back in 2022 when we were using the Regieleki Calyrex size Palkia team. And me asking to Alex to explain it over and over again is also a bit from 2022. If you haven't been watching the channel for the last 4 years.
Bolt Beam Speed Sandwich. Bolt Beam Speed Sandwich. Bolt Beam Speed Sandwich. It's also just a really concise way to refer to this restricted pair because, I don't know, restricted pair names can be such a mouthful sometimes. Anyways, Nick Morales used Calm Mind Lunala with Pound Knight, funnily enough. Pound Knight's still doing well. Definitely like a bit of a weirder one. I feel like the Calm Mind Lunalas are often paired with like Scarf Miraidon, and then otherwise a lot of the other stuff. But yeah, this is a bit of a blend of some different teams and did well. And honestly, I saw the Chople on the instant, and I was kind of like, you know what, Chople seems pretty good right now. I know that you can't eat it in the face of Shadow Rider Zamazenta, but it still works against Koraidon, and if you can ever force that Shadow Rider off the field, then it's still going to help you get out of a bad spot against Zamazenta. So I was like, Chople actually seems pretty strong. Bug Zama, that is pretty funny. Because I feel like you might as well just go grass then. Let's see. And then lastly, I think there's actually a couple more. Jonathan Quinones using Pagos. This is the who was using
the
this?
Sidget team.
Francisco Pio Perot.
Sidget.
Yeah, Sidget.
Although he had a Iron Treads on it, I think. I don't know what got swapped out, but it was pretty similar.
Yeah. There is a bit of a rotating cast of partners around this one. Dongun used the Geo Worlds team, and then Zach Weed also using Ice Rider Miraidon with a Volcarona. And yeah, it looks a bit reminiscent of the team that I think Dylan Cliven got like second in Milwaukee with, but there might be some updates here. I don't know. I'm thinking way back.
I have a version of this that got top 64 at Worlds. Oh, you know what? I took a version that got top 64 at Worlds, and then Kieran Singh DM'd me, and he was like, "Yo, this is my team." And I think he got second at a regional with it. And there's this different variant of this team have been floating around.
Oh man,
top 8 at a regional. I don't know.
So before we move on, any fun teams from this that we should cover? I'm seeing Pengies has some pretty crazy looking stuff here. That's a Iron Defense
This
Zama.
is
It's
There's a
so high
oh,
Poliwag.
key.
fake out on the grid. Whoa.
I was
Freezai, so-
talking up Iron Defense, Zamazenta.
Uh-huh.
At one point, I think it's like not as bad as people think it is. I don't think I'd run it with Nasty Plot, but like, yeah, there's definitely some merit to being able to switch out your Zamazenta, switch it back in. Or in my opinion, the way I thought of it at Portland when I ran it was, hey, Zama's my sweeper and Calyrex is my support mon. Which honestly, like, not the worst thing in the world, especially since you beat other Zamazenta that way. And you beat like the Leech Seed Ice Rider that way. So I think it actually has some real applications. However, this is not the coolest team with Raichu on it at the tournament in day 2. And Freezai was talking about the other one.
Freezai, what were you saying? Was that you were talking about the other Raichu team?
There's a Poliwag. I was talking about the Poliwag.
Yeah, I think it also has a Raichu, I think. Let me see.
Oh, okay. I just saw the Poliwag. I didn't notice anything else.
No,
It
of
went
course.
6-6. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
No.
this is Andy Levine, Andy Law on YouTube, friend of mine. He watched this video. He did a team report on this, and basically he told me, or he told everyone, he hates Regulation I, and he wanted to use his favorite Pokemon, which is, well, he likes Poliwhirl, but he said Poliwag is more optimal. You can
It's
watch the team
faster,
report
right?
if you want the full breakdown. It's faster as a lower HP stat for Endeavor was the other thing. When you're
Oh,
clicking
okay.
Scarf Spout with it, that does come up.
Oh my gosh. That's that is kind of awesome. I think I'm a bit more of a fan of the Love Disc that did well recently. That was also kind of cool and like also had like a cool niche. But yeah, this is still really good. It's just super fun. Let me see. Michael, you said your tweet blew up. Oh, is this the one about the Poliwag? Maybe that's what it is. Okay. Let me see. So there was a couple other ones. I know that Carson was doing a fair amount of cooking for this one. And yeah, put together a Groudon Shadow Rider team. This he puts Groudon as almost a bit more of a supporter role. Precipice Blades and Heat Crash still do some insane damage, but not trying to use like bulk up or the occasional Will-O-Wisp I think we've seen, or even like high horsepower as a way to get around Wide Guard. This one has Helping Hand, which I think is really cool, paired with some Pokemon that are immune to Fake Out, whether it's, Terra Ghost, Choice Scarf Chi-Yu, or a Shadow Rider. You just can blank those boards that are trying to capitalize on using Fake Out. And so, yeah, Helping Hand with Groudon. Pretty cool there. And yeah, otherwise, a lot of Pokemon that benefit from the sun, double Spore, essentially, and then Iron Treads, which is just like a demon for Ice Rider, Miraidon type teams.
Yeah, no, Carson kind of rolled me in 2 games. So he knew what he was doing better than I did, and still might be tricky afterward, but yeah, that was tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're getting some more recommendations. Dorian's team, Dawei's team. I think we talked about Mateo's team already. And then the Marshtomp.
Marshtomp. Dorian was using. Wait, what is this? This is kind of okay. Sure, you're right. I was like, this is kind of boring, but yeah, no, that's a Sash drum beating Rillaboom.
Oh, wait. Nick, or was it Gavin who ran Sash drum beating Rillaboom? Or did you run it? This has been around, right?
Wait, when?
I could have sworn
I
I've
don't
seen
remember a Sash one.
Sash drum beating Rillaboom
I don't remember Sash.
with max speed.
That is pretty funny.
We never...
Drum beating Rillaboom was a thing Justin Tang was using in Regulation H, like with max speed. But it wasn't sashed. It was definitely not sashed.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't think we've ever put Sash Rillaboom in the builder.
Okay. Maybe I saw this on ladder or something, but
I think that it wasn't as good, but
let me see. Who was the Dawei you said? Dawei. Oh my.
Slug.
Yo, Covert Cloak Ensign. Okay. Specs Castrodon. Leftovers Leech Seed and
you know what it is? Sorry. Nick, this is the team that I sent you.
Oh
so I guess I must have faced not this team. I must have faced Dorian on ladder and sent you the replays because I thought you'd be interested in the team. He was like
Right,
top 20
right.
on ladder.
That's funny.
Sure.
This is
Uh,
Roost Pelipper. I love that, dude. It can actually like 1v1 Zamazenta at this point. It's just like, you can't damage me without damaging yourself with Rocky Helmet, and I'm here for the long game. Roost, let's go. That's so fun.
I mean, it's also got the Terra Dark to wall out CSR.
Oh, yep.
Um,
Yep, that's true. The team has 1 protect. Those are the best teams. Those are always the best teams. Okay. Any other fun ones?
and then
before
search for the Marsh Stomp.
That's a King Gander
the Marsh
3.
Hold on, I control F, or I checked it. It's Aaron Banyard at 5-3.
Oh man, it almost made it. Wow, and it's almost like there's almost stupider stuff on the team because we do got the Ogre Pawn, loaded dice. I mean, it's not terrible. And we've got Okie Dogie with Brick Break over Drain Punch. Okay, just to really mess up those screens teams, sure. And
There's a lot of Grimmsnarl, and there's a lot of light screen Whimsicott that mess up your Shadow Rider's day, especially Shadow
That's
Rider
true.
Maridon.
Yeah, double special restricted. That's fair. Honestly, I kind of
Oh,
support.
I like this team that's got Rain Dance to support the Marsh Stomp damage with Whirlpool.
Marsh Stomp is so niche. I don't think they were running it probably to fulfill a niche. They were probably running it because they just wanted to have some fun with like one of their faves. That's a good pick. That's a good pick to be to have fun with.
I see the vision.
All right,
Can't
fair
get
enough,
where they're
fair
going.
enough.
It's bulkier than Swampert, and Swampert's really bulky.
Oh, that's an Overquill there at 8 and 4. Leave it to the double restricted formats to bring out some of the stupidest stuff you've ever seen. Yeah. All right.
People hate on double restricted
we shouldn't.
restricted formats. I love double restricted formats because you get to see the stupidest shit you've ever seen because these niche picks that happen to be really good into one specific restricted combination end up popping off. Like that's awesome. That's beautiful. That's part of what I love about Pokemon, and it's part of the fun of team building. And so yeah, I love that Marshtomp has wide guard and it's a ground type, I think. And so it is probably pretty good into Maridon Ice Rider. That sort of thing is like it's beautiful. I love that.
Everything's good into Maridon Ice Rider. It's tough out here. We've mentioned like so many texts for it. Anyways, are they going to reopen registration for Los Angeles regionals? Did it cap? I don't know if I knew it capped, but
it capped, but the registration number has decreased since then. A lot of people, I don't know, a lot of people, but at least a number of people have unregistered after it was announced that is not on Champions. So I assume they will open dates somewhere. I don't remember where. I saw something that said that when Arcanine reopens registration for capped tournaments, and it's always the same thing. And I want to say it's like it can't be 8 weeks out, but like I forget exactly what it was. But yeah, they will always reopen registration, and it's always the same amount of time before the regional. And I forget what that is. Someone can go and find that out. Yeah, it was down from 800 to 682. So a lot of people unregistered.
So yeah, then I guess let's go ahead and move on over to the fun stuff, the champions. Let's go talk about some champions a little bit here at the end. So we didn't actually get a ton of news about Pokemon champions over the past week. For the people that didn't tune in at the beginning of the episode where we mentioned this, but we're kind of doing an early tub takes this week because we expect to probably be doing more streaming and other types of content later in the week when this game is actually out. So mostly talking about Regulation I here, but this is our last chance to get some kind of like, speculation in and just kind of talk about how excited we are for this game, or, how much we think it's going to fail and crash and burn, because that's what Adi's video is all about, of course. I'm kidding. I didn't actually end up watching it. I just clicked the title and typed in the comments.
The video is very good, by the way.
The video is very solid. I think there's a lot of good points in there, but I didn't know. I don't have the attention span for it. If it was a YouTube short, maybe I could have made through it. Anyways, let's talk about release dates really quick. Release times. One of my favorites ones that I googled when this game was coming out, and I grabbed two. The first two links that popped up were these. The first one here. Let me open this image. Right there. Pokemon Champions release time. Vice is like Pokemon Champions release time confirmed. And then in the first sentence it says, with Pokemon Champions being a first party, it will likely launch. And I was like, you don't know shit, okay? You can't say confirmed and then put likely in the first sentence. And then this one was awesome. Because this one said, This was on Reddit. Says, do we know the actual release time yet? And someone says, we don't know. I only know that it will be after the 7th and before the 9th. And I was like, that's incredible. We do know it's releasing April 8th. Yes. Thank you. So, funnily enough, all this discussion got Team Rocket Elite, who's usually hanging out in the chat, wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy was here right now, got to work talking about all the possibilities over the course of, like, of what release times we could be expecting based on previous things. And you know what? It's only a 25-hour window that it could be released in. And we still don't quite know. In fact, it could be released as early as like 24 hours from now. And so, that would definitely... We could be playing Champions tomorrow. And then as late as,
one thing...
Yeah.
One thing that people have been talking about in Tub that makes a lot of sense is that because this is a game that is, what was the word, like a live service game, they probably want to release it when the developers are awake to fix any urgent bugs, and presumably the developers are in Japan, and so that would be I would lean towards I suspect it will come out at night on the 7th for us in North America is my guess, because that would line up with Japan being able to update the game if really needed, if something goes terribly wrong.
Wait, so the 7 a.m. for what's that? Sorry.
I think that if it I think that 9 p.m. Pacific time, midnight Eastern, I think that's like during working hours in Japan, which would make a lot of sense. That's my best guess.
Okay.
I think that's what Vice said too. So that's what I would have to guess.
Right. Obviously we're all just really excited and waiting, so we don't really know. We're all just bored and doing this. This is actually a large part of the motivation why everybody's, playing that fake ladder and creating teams for that fake ladder, which...
Okay, wait. Can I rant about that for a second? People are giving me shit for making a Doomer video. People are making videos talking about like the clickbait ass, this is the best set for this Pokemon. We don't even know the Pokemon in the game. The ladders, we don't even know the mechanics of this game. We know they're changing mechanics, they're changing movesets, and people are making it's like, this is how you run Mega Frost. And I was like, come on, dude. I don't get it, man. I think it's so disingenuous, because people are gonna click on that for the next week and be like, this is it. This is how we run it. I hate that. I can't. Sorry, Nick. What were you saying? I'll let you.
Oh yeah, no. I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. Like, it's so fake. Some of it will end up being true because Pokemon do the same things that they do a lot of the time. But also, a decent amount of it's going to be different because just the metagame is going to be we don't know a third of the mons in the metagame at least. It's just going to change what mons want to do. It's going to be different. And we usually stuff gets leaked a couple weeks beforehand because they have to do worldwide distribution, and stores get games early and stuff leaks. We don't have that because it's entirely digital. So we're just we're waiting. We
Max,
don't know.
You're 100% right. And you said it feels like everyone is competing for views. I wouldn't even say it's all 100% that. There is a bit of that, but it's also definitely being reinforced, because every time that I'm seeing one of these, here is my team that I've gotten top 10 on this ladder with, and it's getting 1,000 likes or more. So it is being reinforced. People are like, oh wow, I need to save this one for later so that I can use it when the game releases. And it's honestly, my I think the biggest discrepancy between that ladder and what we'll actually end up seeing is probably the legal list of megas. I don't think we are going to have every single mega on launch. They need something to distinguish MA, Regulation MA from Regulation MB. So I think they will probably be seeing at least some megas come later down the line.
Dude, we don't even know what abilities the megas are going to have.
Right. We're just guessing.
Yeah. We're certainly going to guess wrong on some of them. Probably most of them.
Which, by the way, not to say people shouldn't have fun playing this ladder. Good for them. Have fun. I don't want people just you laddering and making YouTube videos about them laddering. It's just the definitive guides. It kind of bugged me. But anyways, I was going to ask, Freezai, as the predominant Rainbats and singles YouTuber who also plays VGC, what are your content plans for Pokemon Champions?
I don't have many. However, I will do whatever is the most fun to me, and that looks for me anyway is going to be preparing for tournaments. So I am anticipating shifting fully into VGC. Maybe just like keeping the random battle series, but I do plan on shifting entirely to VGC. It's just more fun for me at this point.
Let's go.
This is big.
That's so exciting to hear.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, now you
yeah,
got to prep for
also
Worlds.
play at Worlds, so
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you guys are tapped in, but you can see the most nonsense like Smogon versus VGC debates in like every like the Reddit, for example. I was like just reading through it. It was like the most nonsense things about like singles versus doubles, and I was just like I was like cringing the whole time. But
it's
Oh, I love Reddit. I love Reddit
Yeah,
so
it's
much
great.
because of that exactly. I think that nowadays to survive on the internet, you have to be able to laugh at all the cringy things that people post because that's just what gets like signal boosted the most. And it's great. I think it's funny.
yeah, no, I think it's funny, but I know there are people who are getting mad about it. Wait, I'll send you an image in the Discord that kind
Right.
of shows my thoughts on the whole thing. I just like replaced it with like Smogon and VGC, but
yeah.
Oh no.
I can give you the correct take on this.
I
So
don't
it
actually
doesn't
know.
matter.
I don't know what's really going on.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Pull it
like
up.
that.
Pull it up.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm pulling it up, Ani, because you said so. I don't exactly know what's going on here. No, really.
That's so good.
That's Smogon and VGC though. I get it.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
it's pretty. I mean,
hilarious.
it's pretty real though. Um, so, yeah. The thing is, this was kind of covered in Audie's video. We were talking about Ranbats. We're talking about like singles and Smogon and stuff like that. It would be nice if we could all coexist in this one space in Pokemon Champions. I don't think that will be the case at the very least on launch, and that was kind of something we were hoping for. Um, but yeah, I think let's see. So yeah, we asked
And I
about
guess
the. Go ahead, Audie.
I want to keep picking Freezai's brain because I know that everyone watching this that's subscriber to our channel has heard me, Nick, and Alex talk about champions and our hopes and our dreams nonstop.
Right.
But yeah, Freezai, similarly, what are your hopes for champions? What are you really hoping for? Again, as someone who is not coming from a purely VGC background.
I'm very optimistic, and the reason I'm optimistic is I think for the first time we're having an experience that can be different or not doesn't have to be aligned with the mainline Pokemon game. So you can have, for example, balance changes. So something that you might have not basically because you have two different philosophies for what the game needs to be, you can do drastically different things. Like whether they do it or not is a different story. But the concept that you can have, League of Legends styles balance patches, I think are very, very interesting. You can have different formats. I think you open Pandora's box in a good way with Champions. So I'm very excited for it. I think there's a lot of potential. And I think overall, like you think about the origins of like, for example, Smogon and your grassroots formats were created before there was an official circuit. But now there is an official circuit. But the main thing is that the official circuit it has balancing, of course. They do balance stuff. They have different regulations, keep it fresh. But they wouldn't have had like a grassroots type of balancing mechanism. Now you might have a balancing mechanism. I think that's very, very interesting. And I think, like, to me, it feels more fun if I can play a game that's the best of both worlds. It has, official support. So you have your big tournaments, the big stages, the tournaments,
Right.
those are all fun. And you have the ability to curate the formats too. I think that's the best of both worlds. And I really don't see a reason if you're a new player decide, do I want to play OU or VGC? I can't imagine taking OU if Pokemon Champions is good. That's a big caveat. If Pokemon Champions is as accessible and good as it is, I'm pretty optimistic. So from what I've seen, I thought it looked good, Pokemon Champions. So we'll see though. But
Did you see
That's
that?
the thumbnail, by the way. If you have to choose between OU and VGC, I can't imagine picking OU. It's a little too long, but great call.
Freezai, did you happen to see? You're referring to it a lot, so I'm imagining that you did. But did you see that one interview confirmed that there will be like balance patches, like they're intending to do balance patches?
I may have heard about it. I couldn't tell you which interview, but I may have just like read about it and then like I'm parroting it now. But
No, you're good. You're good 100%. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing as well. But yeah, there was a interview where they kind of like confirmed that their plan is to do balance patches, keep an eye on things as the game develops. They also said, you know, a couple of times that this is like Pokemon's. They're planning this to be VGC's forever home at this point. Like, you know,
Right.
we're not trying to transition back to the games. This isn't some kind of temporary thing. So, that's
Yeah,
also like
I'm very
exciting.
optimistic. Yeah, because
No, I'm glad to
again,
hear
the
it. I mean, we
Pokemon
need
Showdown.
somebody to counter Audie. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, he's all he's doing is ranting about Pokemon champions. It's like, when is the negativity going to stop, right? No, but
Right, right, right.
yeah. And then no, because like you can imagine Showdown's been around for 13 years, so the idea of like a forever home is definitely realistic too. People still play Showdown,
Mhm.
so I can imagine champions if done well. Everything is contingent on it actually being good, of course. But if it is, I think conceptually it's a very good idea.
Right. Yeah, I'm hoping that this like really kicks off well. We've been seeing, you know, indie sold out immediately. We saw that the Scraw Tour is overcapped at 6,500, you know, at
Yeah.
8,000 plus now. So the interest is absolutely there, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to handle that as well, and continue to, you know, help the game grow, because it is just like I think Adi said in his video, or maybe a different video or something like that. You know, we were playing in tournaments with like 36 people at points. You know, like it's
Right.
it's so much cooler to be playing in these massive ones where everyone wants to give it a shot. And you were mentioning all the regions that, you know, couldn't even really get in because consoles are just a lot less common over there. Mobile going to be massive for that. And this is, you
And
know,
I
we're seeing these huge numbers before mobile's even out.
exactly. And there's an example. I don't know if you guys are aware of a game called TFT. It's pretty popular, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so TFT has a mobile, there's like a mobile only version of TFT that's like optimized for mobile. And that's incredibly popular in Southeast Asia, for example. So
Hmm.
there is incredible opportunity in these regions. India and Southeast Asia come to mind. And I'm not too familiar about China or Latin America or Africa, for example, but there's a lot of opportunity for mobile gaming essentially.
Yep,
Right.
I agree with all
And
that.
one big question I think, especially with how the circuit structured, is how are they going to integrate those circuits into, or integrate those countries into the into our circuit, when if they do, and we expect them to have a big influx of player base. I know China has a huge interest in VGC. There are old VGC tournaments that you cannot find streams for on YouTube, but you can on Bilibili, I think is the Chinese website that hosts is that right? I might be wrong. Whatever the
Yeah,
Chinese website is that hosts YouTube
correct,
videos.
yeah.
Yeah, like they're saved there, and sometimes have Chinese commentary dubbed over them. Like they have a huge community. There's a reason that you see so many Chinese players come to the US for school, pop off, and then leave. And they have and because they have this great community, this great network. They really do like love working together. So I have no doubt that that's going to grow a ton when Champions comes out. And I really hope that, especially on mobile, and I really hope that they are able to be integrated into our circuit, kind of like how Unite has Asian teams in the circuit, like the team from India, a team from China, I believe, in a way that VGC and TCG is not. But right now, again, the sort of internal politics of Pokemon, where in 2020 the Southeast Asian part of the circuit was annexed by the Pokemon Company from the Pokemon Company International, and they don't provide an opportunity for a number of countries. Indonesia is a big one that used to have a lot of very good players. Now they don't have a circuit at all. Players from China have to go to Hong Kong to have a chance to qualify, for example. Players in India just have no opportunities to get championship points. In the Middle East, they have no chance to get championship points. So I really hope that the Pokemon Company is, again, on top of it and realizes that this is going to have a huge explosion in popularity in those parts of the world, and is able to give those players a chance to compete seriously, because otherwise they might not keep playing Pokemon Champions.
Of
Hmm.
course,
Hmm.
definitely.
Freezai, you going to play predominantly on mobile when it comes out? Would you play tournaments on mobile?
Well, because I have a Switch 2, I'd probably just do Switch 2 for tournaments, but
Right.
uh yeah, to be honest, I'm probably more of a Switch guy anyway. Well,
I
actually,
feel
that's
that.
not true. I'm sponsored by Red Magic, a gaming smartphone, and it's actually very convenient to play games on that phone. So I do recommend the Red Magic 11 Pro
Let's go.
for
Let's go.
Pokemon
That is
Champions.
kind of
But
cool. Dude, I have to think about that. Like I have to think about like I haven't gotten a phone upgrade in a couple of years, a decent amount of years. I'm like, is my phone ready to run Champions? I hope. Adi?
Hey, Red Magic, you wanna sponsor Alex? I heard he needs a new phone and he would play Champions exclusively on that.
They actually
Dude,
sponsor a lot of gaming YouTubers, and they do smaller channels as well. So who knows? But
Yes,
Yo, hook us up.
yes.
I mean, I haven't heard about them, and I'm looking at the website right now because of this. So
This
yeah.
is
This is
sick.
a totally
This is sick.
unpaid sponsorship
Yeah,
right now.
Brian-
This is
Right.
So
So
I
pivoting
use-
away from the unpaid sponsorship, Freezai, I have a kind of a metagame question for you. Not so much of a metagame question, but rather, what mega do you think, or like megas, do you think you want to use when Champions drops? Assuming that, whatever one we're talking about is legal. Like, is there a mega that you're most excited for because of like competitive reasons, or even just like a one that is your favorite? What do you think you want to start
There
with?
is one. There is one. Well, the new ones, depending on like we don't know their abilities, so we don't know
We don't
how
know the
cool they're going to
abilities.
be. But I missed the Mega Gengar era of competitive Pokemon. I didn't like. For
Oh,
example, it was
shit.
banned from in Smogon at that time. It was banned from OU, and I believe some formats banned it in like Ubers too. Like Shadow Tag was completely gone. So I never
Mhm.
played Mega Gengar that much. So
It's pretty good, I
That's
pretty
think.
good.
I think it's a pretty good mega, so you're gonna have a lot of fun with that. In fact, you didn't obviously win this regional with Dozo, but you're a Dozo player. You like Dozo, right?
yeah, I think I liked it because I was just kind of bad, so it was just fun. Like not that bad players use Dozo, but it's easier for a bad player to use Dozo because there's less to think about at any one
No,
time.
bad players
So,
use
yeah.
Dozo. I'm very much
Not-
happy to flame the Dozo players. Don't
Yeah.
worry. If you don't want to
They're
get your
all
words twisted, that's okay. But I do feel animosity towards everybody that uses Don Dozo. Unfortunately, that's just where I'm at in my life. Uh, so I forgot though. We do have two megas that like we have the abilities for possibly because I think we were hoping that the data mine last week would come through with a bit more information. The one that basically like Pokemon Home did a compatibility update. They might still be doing one more update or something like that. But all we really got from it was brand new abilities, of which there were four. Two of them have already been revealed and we very much know about. That is Mega Soul on Meganium and Dragon Eyes. I think it's Dragon Eyes, not Dragonate. I'll probably say the wrong one at some point, but I think it's Dragon Eyes on for Alligator. However, Excadrill has a new ability that's a bit of a wall of text, but basically it's what we've all been wanting Urshifu to be doing for years, which is kind of like Z moves worked the same way, right? It was a quarter
Right.
damage. Z moves did a quarter through. My brain is foggy as well. What was Dynamax?
Dynamax
through
2.
Protect?
Same thing.
It was a quarter. Okay. And so this is just a quarter damage on only contact moves, notably for Excadrill. In fact, it's actually pretty big for Excadrill because that means like Earthquake is not a contact move. So you can't Earthquake something through Protect. But high horsepower, Iron Head, a lot of other moves that an Excadrill might run. Rock Slide, another move that would not go through Protect because it's not contact. Urshifu pretty much exclusively runs contact moves, so we're kind of just so used to it. But Unseen Fist is the same way. Only the contact moves go through Protect. So technically, if you used Rock Slide on your Scarf Urshifu, I think it learns it. It would be blocked by Protect. Anyways, what do we think of this ability? Does it seem still too strong? Are we like, sick of this, or do you think it'll be fine?
I think it'll be fine. Spicy Spray could be pretty interesting because like if you like just taking damage burns the opponent feels really really strong. And
Right.
I'll give kind of an obscure example, but there's a format called balanced hackmons, okay, where you can use hacked Pokemon essentially, right?
Yeah.
So you can have your just like the most broken Pokemon you can think of. There's some bans, right? But in that format, they ended up banning Cramorant of all Pokemon because you can start the game and it's like a paralyzing form. So anything that attacks it gets paralyzed, for example, right? So
Sure.
it's kind of like that thing was broken, just attacking it like in a format where you can use literally anything. I'm like, okay, maybe getting burned on attack could be kind of cool depending on what Scovillain does. But I'm like you rage powder everything into you, you just burn half the field every time. I don't know. It feels like it could be more interesting than people are giving credit for. I don't know, but
I
I'm
think
Adi, go ahead.
my opinion is that abilities that force your opponent to do need your opponent to do something to play into them
right.
are generally worse, especially in doubles where you have two Pokemon
Right.
on the
Right.
field.
That's true.
I
That's
can
true.
just attack it with my special attacker, and unlike paralysis, which really does impact all Pokemon, I know slower
That's
Pokemon
true.
are less impacted, but like paralysis chance is still a big deal.
That's true.
Getting burned on your special attacker sometimes is a positive thing because you can't get like Sport or
Oh,
Thunderwave or
that's
whatever,
true.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just a little bit of chip damage here and there. Uh, and also the other problem that I have with this, it's a really, really good ability. But
Yeah.
if you look at Mega Scovillain's stats, they do
Oh.
not support this ability.
Oh, I haven't seen the
It
stats
is
at
like
all.
it is
It's
like
like
75,
75,
75, 75 bulk.
Yeah,
Oh
Yes.
no.
it's
Okay.
very, very squishy.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
you're
You
Never
spending
mind
your
you
Mega
then.
and you can't switch it in from the back
Oh
without
right.
having to get it first because it has to
Okay.
Mega to get it. Like, there's a lot of issues with it.
You're crushing my
Very cool
Scoville
ability.
dreams now.
Oh
But the
no, dude!
implementation.
The image I'm gonna pull up has just like a bit of random MDB slander in the middle of it. Sorry, Michael. I don't really know why this is in there. There we go. I just was doing the data on Scoville and Mega, and Ogrepon, and like Ogrepon, I think beats Scoville in just about every department. First off, you're taking a straight downgrade from Follow Me to Rage Powder. So that means that safety goggles and grass types can ignore you. But the other aspects are like it's going to take hits better. It's got better stats across the board besides 1 point in defense. And the offensively, it's also not going to do that much better because Ogrepon has the what is it? The mask boost, the 1.2 boost to its stab type attacks, and then it's also just way faster. So I'm just like,
Well,
do I really
here's
want like super
Moody though.
budget Ogrepon?
What if you
The
go like
Moody is
Moody
fun.
Scoville? Moody Scovillain. Like Moody on a Pokemon who's actually good, and then after you get your Moody's, then you go and protect, or then you go and Mega. There's something there.
That's a little funny.
It's honest. It's very funny to like just spend turn one of the game just saying like, let's roll the dice, let's see what happens, and then be like, I'm actually a supportive Scoville in this game. Or you get the +2 special attack, and you're like, oops, I'm gonna Oko everything with my flamethrower incoming.
It's like
It
Moody
definitely
on something good is just crazy, right? If you get Moody on like an actually good Pokemon, well, not that Scovillain's that guy, but I don't know.
not
but
that's
like
Scoville.
hypothetically, if it is.
But hypothetically,
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be good enough. Yeah, Adi.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think something interesting is I never played any of like the Mega Pokemon, like the Mega Pokemon era, but we talk about like Chalk. Like, in a tournament you can only bring one Mega, so a lot of your Megas get gapped by Salamence and Gengar and Kangaskhan. So a lot of your like good Megas just are unviable almost because the good Mega means you're not running, the Mega Charizard or the Mega Gengar or whatever. So I'm interested in seeing how many Megas are actually viable. And of course, it depends on the rule set too and everything like that. But
Yeah, yeah. No, 100%. The best ones will always push out the worst ones, unfortunately. It kind of works similar to single restricted, in my opinion. The big difference here is that you can, like, legally run 2, I guess, technically even 3. No, sorry, you can run 6. I forgot, you can run 6. You can only Mega 1 per game. You that it wouldn't be advisable to run 6 Mega Stones on your Pokemon. But, I've seen a lot of people post like from the fake ladder double mega teams. I really do not think double megas are going to be that strong. Historically, they weren't that strong, and I don't think things are going to be that different now. So like the comparison to regulation G or single restricted formats feels pretty accurate because the archetypes will start to form around the best Pokemon that support the mega. I feel. I don't know. It might be a little bit more flexible than that, but it feels like the best ones are going to push out the worst ones for sure.
The
yeah,
format that is probably the best comparison, and this is a deep cut, is 2014, which was also a regional dex format that had mega evolutions.
I was
And
picking something more recent, Adi, because like what?
Right.
Yeah, you want to compare the mega evolution format to an older mega evolution format? Of course, that's going to be better than
Yeah,
mine.
okay.
Yes, like pick any of them.
Right.
Yeah, 2018 is a
And
better
I get,
comparison.
like, I get it. No, 2018 isn't a better comparison because
It had
2018
Z-moves, sure,
also was
whatever.
a national dex format and it had Z moves, and like the point of this format is that a lot of your power is going to be concentrated in one Pokemon because the regional dex does not give you high powered legendary Pokemon like Urshifu and Fluttermane. that you have in a national dex format, or Tapu Koko like we had in 2018, and Tapu Lele and whatnot. And so yeah, you really are like, it does feel like it's going to be harder to run a support mega in the way that you could in GS Cup formats in 2018, 2019. We saw like Kangaskhan is a great example. Obviously 2014 it was pre buff. Since then Parental Bond does a lot less damage. And the way it saw play in Generation 7 was it was a support Pokemon. It had Fake Out, and really the best teams that ended up using Kangaskhan had Bite to give it a 50% flinch chance, on top of the damage that it does, which is not inconsiderable. And that was just the way you ran Kangaskhan. And that is fine in a format where you have other high power level Pokemon to facilitate doing damage. But I don't know if it'll depend on what Pokemon are in the decks. I think Ursaluna we saw is potentially in the deck, so maybe you can run a support mega if you are using Ursaluna as your like primary damage dealer, as we've seen with Lunala teams in this format, where Lunala is like support restricted and Ursaluna is your secondary damage dealer. But generally speaking, I think teams are going to rely on their mega for their big damage, and they're going to be built around their mega evolutions. Taking a lot of knockouts, and yeah, I think that it's going to be harder to justify using a Scovillain that's a support Pokemon, or even a Kangaskhan that's a support Pokemon, when you don't have other great options to pick up the slack.
Right.
Nick,
I'm
what do you think
realizing
about
that-
that? You've played a lot of these formats.
Yeah. Mega formats are just single restricted.
See, he kept it concise. Otto, you said way too much when you could have just agreed with me.
Yeah.
So true.
People are pointing out that the power level of the non-restricteds has definitely gone up as well. So yeah, that's great. Yeah, like you said, Guts Bear, Basket Legion, Archaludon, Sneasler. There's some pretty strong Pokemon that we've seen released over the past years. But yeah, I'm realizing that we're coming up on the time. I don't want to take too much of your guys' time already since you've given us so much. Really quick though, Freezai, do you have any other champions takes that we didn't quite get around to, or anything at all before we wrap up? Is there anything we didn't get
Champion
to?
takes? No, I think I'm all done with my hot takes for
All right.
champions right now.
Cool. No worries. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything you were dying to get off your chest regarding it, because I mean the game is going to come out so soon. We're talking about speculative stuff when we could be playing it literally within the next 24 hours. We're not even 100% sure when it comes out yet, but super exciting. And also, yeah, if I don't oh, thank you Freezai for the subs. Let's go. Hey, appreciate
Thank you for the 10 gifties.
I got the regional
Yes.
money.
Oh,
Also,
yo.
it's
You just have to go to more tournaments.
Yeah, the community's been so supportive. It's important to give back because really, like all the resources, the team reports, everything, even the staff, the judges, everything, everybody plays a part. So I was very appreciative. I thought I'd do that, but yeah, that's it. But yeah,
That's so sick. No, thank you so much. This is we're so excited like that. I mean, like when you said that you were gonna be like pivoting to doing VGC content a lot more, I was just like so excited because like I don't know, we need more still. I know that there's a lot of people that make content, we make content, but like I want to see VGC content everywhere. I want to have so many options. I want to see the strongest players putting it out there. So that's just super exciting to hear.
for sure. There's a lot of opportunity too
Same.
with champions as well.
Right.
And I just want to say, because we've been joking about how I think Champions is going to suck and I hate it. I also feel the same way. Like I really love VGC. I want it to grow as much as possible, and I say all the things I say from a place of love, and and similarly, I really do hope that I'm so excited to see Freezai make VGC content and play VGC. Pokeaim, when he was on our channel and he was playing, and I know he had a podcast talking about champions, and I think he's going to be playing more champions as well. It sounds like a whole bunch of the broader Pokemon community is really excited for this, and it's going to be a really, really fun time. I'm really excited to be a part of it. It's going to be a blast for these next few months.
Absolutely.
100%. So if you guys were in now but you didn't catch the beginning or anything like this is going to be on YouTube tomorrow. Adi, you're also going to link it in your Doom video because you said that you have to do that. I saw that. I read the description, so make sure you add that description. Anyways, if you want to see more from us, we're probably going to be doing more streams this week, of course, covering Pokemon Champions. And Yeah, other than that,
I'm
I
going
guess we
to
should probably.
I'm going to be, by the way, we're going to be streaming a Champions local in the DC area up in Maryland this Saturday. So look out for that. I'm going to be casting that. We're going to be streaming it for the first time ever. And if you are in the DC area, I think it's at Player One Games. So try to show up. It's going to be a lot of fun.
If it comes out tomorrow night, there's a chance I stream it. Honestly, there's gonna be a lot of people streaming it, and like if it comes out tomorrow night, it's gonna be like late. So I don't know. I might like boot up the game on my own the first time, but I don't know. I could also because like I feel like there's gonna be so many people doing. I don't know. Whatever. We'll see. No promises, but maybe a chance. Anyways, yeah. Let's figure out who we're gonna throw this raid over to, and otherwise, yeah. Nick, Freezai again. Thank you guys for being on.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
basketball
Always
game
nice to
tomorrow.
be here.
Yeah, I know you got to go watch basketball. Catch you later, Nick.